Hello, world. Hello, world. Love and light to you all. I am going to approach this a little differently tonight because I am going to address the professionals on YouTube. I'm not going to be able to cover every one. I have a couple lives that I want to actually listen to that are coming up here in the next couple hours. So I just really want to get this out into the ether and hope that some of these professionals take heed and think about how they cover true crime, and think about where they get their information, and think about whether or not it should really be given the credibility that I have watched a lot of professionals, like attorneys, DEA, retired police. I think both of these guys are retired, but I don't know if they're still on duty. I feel like they talk about still going to work, so I'm not exactly sure. So LV Cops TV, Lawyer You Know, I think Lawyer You Know is the most professional. He's not mocking people, at least, that are in this case, but I still don't think he's being intellectually honest in the way that he covers it. And I truly feel like he's doing that because he knows that if he is intellectually honest in his assessment of what is actually going on, he will be crucified by his audience. People will cancel him, and he will not profit off of doing YouTubes, and he will lose most of his audience. So I would say that when you come across a case that you cannot give the respect that it deserves, and if you are not actually willing to assess it in an honest way with integrity and actually read court documents and check your sources, journalists check before they are to report. A professional journalist, before they are to report anything on the news or podcasts or anything, they should have 3 separate sources that are unrelated, that aren't like 3 best friends that have talked about the tea over supper and beers. And so I obviously, as far as this circus that has become the Karen Read trial, I'm gonna give you professionals out there some facts, and these are based on what happened in trial 1 and court documents and some reliable sources. And you don't have to believe me, but I would suggest please thinking about how you're covering this case, because what I tell you tonight is going to come out in the wash. It has started to come out. There are a couple of podcasts tonight that are going to bring us more information. There are definitely people more in the know than I am. So if you are hearing this, Kevin Lanahan with Yellow Cottage Tales is having an episode tonight at 8, I believe. And then Kate is having one at 9, a little bit after 9, 9:05, I think she said. I went to hers last night. I was 23 hours early. I was very bummed. So, yeah. And Kate Peter gets a lot of vitriolic, disgusting, abhorrent behavior from people that don't know her, that literally are trusting Turtle Boy with everything that they have. And it's really quite disgusting, because this man is not a man. He's a coward. He has no power without his camera. And he is a liar. a cheat, an abuser, and I think that everybody should be disgusted and outraged by his behavior and by his lies. Y'all are going to have to come to terms with the fact that you have been lied to, okay? Which I'll get into more later. But what I want you to understand is that everything that people on YouTube that are grifting off of this, and let me be clear, grifting is when you knowingly spread false information, aka lies, and you do it to make money, and you do it to build an audience, and you do it to build a brand. You do it for politics, you do it for power, you do it for money. Politics, power, and money. Okay? Josh Levy, Alan Jackson, David Yanetti, I would assume Miss Little, Attorney Little that works with Jackson, and Yanetti. Oh, and let me just say too now, apparently Karen has hired another attorney to work on her case from New York, which I just think is so interesting that nobody is talking about that, because it's like, okay, everybody's complaining about the taxpayer money to bring this woman to court because everybody is trusting in a known and proven liar, criminal liar, and everybody's whining and crying about it. But you know what? If you're upset about taking this woman to court twice, do you know who you should be upset with? Karen Reed and Turtle Boy, Aiden Carney, whatever the hell you pronounce his name. Okay? Those two, along with Josh Levy and Karen Reed's family and Karen Reed's attorneys and all of these YouTube creators, are basically committing, like they should, in my opinion, all be arrested on RICO charges, because this is mob behavior. This is why RICO charges exist, from when the mafia was actually alive and well, which I'm sure, you know, there's still some areas where it is, but not as prevalent, okay? So when the mafia in New York City was like taking over the city, and there were all of these mob wars and things, the reason that RICO charges exist, and I've said this multiple times, but I'm going to say it again because a lot of times people don't hear my streams, or different people will hear different streams, so there is some repetitive stuff I'm going to say, and especially tonight, because I am trying to appeal to the professionals on YouTube. There will always be grifters on YouTube. There will always be people who profit off of lies, and or, you know, gain power off of lies, or try to get fame, glory, whatever off of lies. There will always be people like that. But the people that I am trying to appeal to tonight are professionals, police officers, any type of law enforcement, nurses, medical professionals, attorneys, anybody that does like digital forensics, or even these digital graphics that have been created that are not accurate, because there's absolutely zero lighting. Okay, so all of these little digital things that have been created have lights all over. Like, this whole area is lit up. There are no lights around 34 Fairview. No street lights, no nothing. It is pitch black dark. I would love to see somebody in that area get permission from the homeowners to actually go and recreate something like this. And hopefully even Hank Brennan will do something like this, or somebody could just whisper in his ear this thought, this idea would be really good, because it would completely debunk all of this crap about how people should have been seeing people in the yard, or how people should have seen John lying there. It's pitch black. And P.S., by the way, ARCA wanted to say that, you know, they have all of these degrees, very qualified, but completely discredited by how they approached their testimony. They were clearly working in cahoots with Josh Levy. I have no idea why Josh Levy is trying to get a murderer free. I have absolutely no idea. I hope we get to the bottom of it. I hope these people in power are held accountable, along with the attorneys. Jackson and Yanetti have not only completely crossed ethical boundaries, they have committed fraud on the court almost every time they've walked into that courtroom by lying, knowingly feeding Turtle Boy information directly from Karen Reed and her attorneys, and there is proof of this. There is absolute 100% proof of this, and if you look at the court documents in Turtle Boy's case, Aiden Carney, you will see that there is proof of this. Now, Aiden Carney is very good at gaslighting, just like Karen Reed, just like Alan Jackson, and David Yanetti are gaslighters, professional gaslighters. So they can all twist shit and make it look a certain way. So if you want to believe that, then you will believe that, and you will continue to make excuses no matter how ridiculous this whole idea gets. Which is really disgusting, because if you still believe in this conspiracy, I don't think that you are paying attention to what's actually going on. I think that you're going to standouts, and you think that you're doing a good thing, and I applaud y'all for doing that. It is good to stand up to power. It is good to stand up to tyranny. It is good to stand up for any kind of, what am I trying to say? Any kind of, criminal activity within people in power, or, like dirty police officers and dishonest professionals. That is a really good thing to do. The problem with this so-called movement is that you are doing it on a false premise, and so many people have been hurt as a result, and they're still being hurt. John O'Keefe and his family and his loved ones have not even had time to grieve. They literally got thrown into this craziness, started hearing whispers of conspiracy, started hearing things about how everybody else in the world was conspiring to convict an innocent woman. And they literally were like, what is going on? Then they're getting called names, they're getting called out, they're getting booed when they go to court. This is the family of a police officer who was killed by his girlfriend. So I don't understand how people can do that. And you can lie all you want about you weren't booing the family, you were booing so-and-so, and you were booing so-and-so who was walking in with the family. I don't give a shit what your excuse is. There is no excuse for that type of behavior. You do not go to a courthouse where there is family and friends of a loved one who has passed away, who is at court for their loved one's murder trial, and you boo them or anybody that is with them. There's absolutely no excuse for that. I do not care. If you want to picket and you want to do whatever you're going to do it. But you do not attack victims and their families. It is disgusting. And I do not understand how otherwise good human beings and good, intelligent human beings have done some of the things that I see continuously happening to this family and the state's witnesses. It's disgusting. It's abhorrent. The fact that the Commonwealth is not actually protecting these witnesses, the fact that Turtle Boy and Karen Reed are walking the streets, they should both have their bail revoked, and they should both sit in jail while they wait for trial. They have both done things that is in direct obstinance of their bail. Karen Reed is drinking in the bars, in the restaurants with her attorneys in public. One of her bail, sorry guys, my brain is crazy again tonight. One of her bail requirements is that she not drink alcohol. She doesn't give a shit. The rules don't apply to her. So Yeah, that's a bail condition, and just that alone could have it revoked. I have a very sneaky suspicion that Karen Reed either has been or will be indicted on witness intimidation charges, which since I've started following this case, I have continuously asked why she wasn't indicted when Turtle Boy was originally indicted, because it seems very clear to me, okay, that it was fed through, it began with a third party, and then that third party realized that these people were awful, and they got out of it, and then Karen Reed and Turtle Boy talked directly, and Turtle Boy talked directly with both Jackson and Yanetti. Again, there is evidence of this. It is in court record. You need to read the court documents to get the actual facts. Now, I'm going to start this, LV Cops TV, and all of you other professionals out there. Andrew D. Myers, lawyer, any police officer, any professionals, medical people, Nurse Kim, okay, I have tried to reach out to these people again, especially I'm over the whole obvious grifters like the Young Jerks and the LTL and the Sean McDonaugh and hopefully Sean McDonaugh is going to bring some more facts to the table. I mean, just look at how he's being attacked in the FKR. He's still saying Karen Reed is innocent, which is bullshit, and I think he knows that. I think he just can't come to terms with how he's going to actually deal with the facts of the case and that he was bamboozled. But he's being absolutely attacked and crucified by this movement. And if you notice, my professionals out there that I hope hear this, please take note when you say anything to your audience that could sound bad for Karen. JFK Show Off knows this all too well. Okay, that could sound, her own sound bites. He didn't look incapacitated. I'm gonna have to show some Boundless Millennial tonight too, because he does amazing work. She's basically given a confession on national TV. She said that he did not look incapacitated, I believe is the word that she said. So she saw him after he was down. What other conclusion can you draw from that statement? It is very clear to me. And as I've said multiple times, there's no, and I pose this question to both Andrew D. Myers, lawyer, multiple other professionals. I say, I have put in chat or in their comments after their videos, I have said, answer me this question, please. How do you explain, hold on one second. How do you explain, I'm going to see if I can find the actual comment. Okay, this is how I worded it. Please answer this question. Have you ever accidentally been driving forward and then threw your car in reverse with 75% of the accelerator pushed, had all the bells and whistles in your Lexus vehicle designed specifically for safety, hit something, yet never hit the brakes yourself, relying solely on your anti-lock brakes? Do you think that's an accident? That seems to me to be a rock-solid, on-purpose action. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Also, if you're going to have defense attorneys, such as Betterow, who is clearly a slimeball attorney as well, and I will defend that to the end. Well, one thing I will tell you is I went to his webpage when I first saw him starting to make an appearance on these frickin' grifters stations. All the man does. Between him and Melanie Little, I don't know Well, I don't know how Mark Betterow has time to actually practice law. I mean, he would literally get done on broken bakers, get sent right over to Melly Littles, get sent right over to the Young Jerks, get sent right over to the Glare, and then LTL, and I mean, it's just one stream to the next, talking the same talking points over and over and over again. Like, how do you not get fucking bored of that? And living in echo chambers and not allowing people with any other perspective to actually communicate with you. It's disgusting. I have tried to reach out to all of these professionals. Like I said, when I first got in the trial, I thought she was probably innocent, and I thought there was probably corruption. End of day one, opening statements, boring as hell. But even though I didn't really understand who all of these people were, it became very apparent to me that this was all a bunch of shit, a PR campaign by the defense. And then I found Roberta Glass, and I learned what this is called innocence fraud campaign. As far as I know, this is the first time that this shit's been done, both pre-trial and in real time during the trial. It's usually done after convictions, such as what's been going on with the Menendez brothers. If they get let out, they will reoffend. I guarantee you. Those, well, at least one of them will. They probably wouldn't offend with the M, with the murder, but they would not be successful members of society. I would say if somebody has a chance, it would be Eric, based on what I know, and even of the actual crime itself. But, you know, anyway, I don't want to get off on that tangent. But what's happening with the Menendez brothers, Amanda Knox, there's like the Central Park 5, something like Tennessee 3 or something. Anyway, these are all innocence fraud campaigns, but they usually happen after a conviction, and then there's always politics, power, and money. There is a reason for corruption, and those are the reasons for corruption: politics, power, and money. That is it. If there is corruption, you will find it by following those three things. Okay? So guess what? Everybody that wants a conspiracy because it's so interesting and it's so much better than any actual, just like, this was a domestic violence breakup murder, and it's very simple from point A to point Z. But we want to make this all complicated because conspiracies are so much more interesting. Guess what? There is a conspiracy here, but it's not where y'all have been focusing. It is not on the side of the Commonwealth. I dare you to try to find anything negative about Lally, Proctor, any of these police officers that have been especially Proctor. The man had a clean record. He was a good cop. And because Karen Reed is a narcissistic psychopath that refuses to take accountability for her own actions, that man I hope he doesn't lose his job, and I say this every time I speak to. I truly hope that he sues the shit out of all of the people involved in this, including Reed's attorneys, Josh Levy, even the governor that came out and berated him. Like, yeah, these aren't great professional texts, but they had no probable cause to search that man's personal phone. None. Okay? So I would demand that Josh Levy show you his probable cause, because I don't think he had it. I want to know where that even happened. I hope to God Proctor sues the shit out of all you assholes. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the I'm going to try to, this is probably, I'm going to have to end it sooner than I want to because I want to go listen to these other people tonight. But I really just wanted to really throw this out there and ask y'all, because after I have reached out to LV Cops and Andrew G. Myers and Lawyer, there are, like, when I go on a lot of people, and I am polite. I didn't even finish reading my email. Let me finish reading that. As you can see by this comment, I'm not rude. I sometimes get a little spicy and sassy, and I call these attorneys disgusting or something, because they are disgusting. What they have done is disgusting. It is one thing to vehemently, defend your client. Do that. Great. Everybody has the right to do that, and I believe you should do that. But for me, my sense of morality, I can't do shit and lie about it. Like, if I do something wrong, it will eat me up. I will punish myself more than any person, place, or thing could possibly punish me, because I have an overactive conscience. I'm in recovery, and I've been in recovery for nearly 20 years. In December here, it'll be 20 years. And I just, or is it 19? 2005, 19, 2000, yeah. So 19 years, my apologies. But that's where I discovered, because like, every little thing, like, if I parked at the wrong spot in my job, I parked in a spot that was close to the door, and I wasn't supposed to park there. Like, I would have to go make amends for that, because I would feel so guilty. So the fact that she claims that she would take accountability, and P.S., the Vanity Fair article again, too, like, I hear these professionals like Andrew G. Myers giving that credence and credibility, like that journalist has any actual credibility. That article was probably written by Karen Reed herself. What journalist is going to go literally live with a murder defendant for 3 days, and go out to eat and have a little slumber party with a murder defendant? Is that professional? Is that in any way acting with integrity? Do you think this story might be slanted? Please check out Tuesday Gazette. I appreciate her so much. I am hoping to hear more about what she's discovering, because the cell phone data guy that this journalist reached out to, again, she didn't give them all of the information. She literally gave them Green's affidavit and information from the defense. This journalist did not give that particular expert any information from the Commonwealth, or from Ian Whiffen, or from Jessica Hyde. None. That is not credible. Same shit with the ARCA people. They have all of this expertise, yet they didn't use it. They are tech stream data specialists, yet they didn't want the tech stream data. Listen to some of my there's actually one to Brother Counsel, that if you want to hear about the ARCA and how I feel about ARCA and the truth about ARCA, please listen to that, because I couldn't frickin' take it when he came out with that. It is so bullshit. Brother Counsel, you're another one I'm talking to, because you cannot, with any kind of integrity, with any kind of intellectual honesty, say that you believe that Karen Reed is not guilty. Okay? There's a difference between factually innocent and not guilty, first of all. Second of all, I feel like they are really trying to tiptoe and see if they can switch their defense to a not guilty, like, reasonable doubt defense, because they have to know that they are going to be so destroyed. Now, again, Karen Reed hired another high-powered attorney, and y'all are paying both for her defense attorneys, y'all that donate to her all the time and spend all your free time, and you're losing relationships and jobs because of this murderer. And I can say murderer because they proved that she is guilty in the first trial. They have proven it. And I've also read court documents. And I know that she's guilty based on the factual evidence. And I think anybody that looks at this case with any sort of intellectual honesty is going to see the same thing. So, if you're choosing to be ignorant, shame on you. If you are choosing to ignore facts, forget facts, pretend like certain testimony never happened, pretend like certain things aren't real, and live in this conspiracy land, shame on you. If you are a person that is putting out information with with the credibility of your profession, such as medical, law enforcement, attorneys, things of that nature, then shame on you. If you want to do this, I think that's wonderful, but I think that you need to do it honestly. And you need to have integrity. And you need to not let people that are having a mob-like mentality dictate to you what your opinion should be on your podcast. I believe that anybody that's professional on YouTube should be being a professional on YouTube and being honest with their audience. If you want to say that that the Commonwealth didn't convince you of her guilt, which I will give people credit, like it was very convoluted, it was difficult to understand. There are certain things that they were not able to get into evidence. There were certain testimony that never came out, which, by the way, let me ask you this. It seemed to me like Matt McCabe's testimony about there being like this weird pattern in the snow, we never got, as far as I know, we never got like what the meat and potatoes were of that. I really feel like that was important. But again, Lally can't just say it for him. And he couldn't, as far as I remember, he never got it out of him. I still walked away wondering why that was important. Why I think that could be important is because perhaps when Karen threw her car in reverse 24 miles an hour with 75% of the accelerator pushed, perhaps she lost a little bit of control, and perhaps she ended up a little bit in their yard and she created some sort of tire pattern. That's the best I have. So if anybody else has any ideas or knows what he was trying to get out of Matt, what the fact is that he was trying to get out of Matt, please let me know in the comments, because I would like to know what that was about. So those are the types of things that they're never going to be able to factually prove. But again, most cases are not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect investigation. There's no such thing as a perfect court case and a perfect prosecution and getting perfect testimony, because the prosecution isn't allowed to prep their witnesses like the defense is. The defense can prep Karen and go over it 1,000,000 times and prep all of their witnesses and basically tell them how to testify, which, is an ethical violation, but let's be honest, it happens all the time. And like I said before, these attorneys have lost all dignity, integrity, respect that they ever had. And if anybody continues to think that they have any, then I feel sorry for you, because they have literally broken the law over and over and over. They have broken ethical boundaries, they have broken legal boundaries, and they really do deserve to not only get their bar license revoked, never to practice law again, but they belong in prison right alongside Karen and Turtle Boy, in my humble opinion. And I truly hope that they are held accountable along with Josh Levy, and we understand why Josh Levy got himself involved and tried to free a murderer. I would really love to know. And I am not going to shut up about this until the O'Keefes get some freaking answers, because they have asked and Josh Levy has avoided them. Okay, I heard Sean McDonaugh say that on Antiquated Rogue's show the other day when he was on there. Why isn't Paul demanding to know what is going on with Josh Levy. Well, Sean McDonough, maybe you could actually help because you do have a DEA background, because you do have connections. Paul O'Keefe, in his one televised interview, which P.S. everybody wanted to berate him for and grade him on, when he's literally telling you how he feels about losing his brother and about what he knows to be true about how he lost his brother. I did several reviews on different creators who wanted to say that the journalist was throwing him softballs and they were so disgusted by them and what he was saying. It's like, this man has lost 2 of his adult siblings plus a brother-in-law, and you are criticizing him for giving one public interview to literally just tell people how he feels. And you're grading him on it. You're saying he's getting softball questions. He is not in a freaking interrogation. He is not being questioned by the police. He is trying to just tell how he feels. It's disgusting how people reacted to that. It's fucking disgusting, okay? And shame on all of you that did that. So Sean McDonough, why don't you please use your influence and your connections to help Paul? He literally said that in that interview. He has reached out to Josh Levy several times, sent emails. I can't remember if he said phone calls as well, but I know he said emails. And he said he will not return his emails. And Paul said, if I don't get an answer, I will go camp outside of his office until I do get an answer. Now, realistically, Paul and Aaron have children, plus they have the niece and nephew and senior citizen parents who are trying to raise teenage children when they are in their golden years, and they have adult children with children, and now they're parents once again to teenagers. I mean, this is, it's so freaking unfathomable. And the way that they have been treated and the way that people aren't supporting them, they should have support around the world. None of this shit should be happening to them. They have so much to deal with. And I don't know them personally. I've never spoke with them, but I don't know if they have even really had time to grieve properly, because I've never been in that position of having to, solve a loved one's crime and go through the court process and all of that awful shit. But it is my estimate, based on my life experience, that it would be really difficult, if not impossible, to truly start healing without some sort of accountability on the part of the person that took that loved one's life. So I don't know, but that's kind of what I feel, and it enrages me. It enrages me that people in power and people using their power, politics, money don't help them. So please, Sean McDonough, please help Paul get answers. I don't know that he actually has realistically time to go camp outside Josh Levy's office. If I was there, I would do it in a fucking heartbeat for him, because it's disgusting. I am outraged. Melanie Little, you sick bitch. Yes, I have the mouth of a sailor, but I have the heart of Mother Teresa. So please bear with me as I get through this. All right, so I am a spider webber when I talk, obviously, so I'm going to get back to my original comment that I was reading that I posted on several professional creators like LV Cops TV, Law Offices of Andrew D. Myers, lawyer, and the thing is like, I don't know if the lawyer, even looks at his comments, because he doesn't, as far as I can tell, like, there's no, like, comments from him or hearts like you can do or whatever to indicate that he's read them. So I don't know if he reads them. LV Cops did respond to me. I told them that I was going to do a review on them, and they said, do what you have to do. And then I tried to comment on the next thing that they put out, and my comment was not there. So I'm assuming that nobody can see me. I'm assuming they blocked me. That's pretty typical. As soon as I do leave a comment that gets through, these people just block me. So if I am trying to communicate in the chat, and this has happened on all of the grifters with the Young Jerks, Broken Bear, all of these people, the 12th juror, 13th juror, sorry, all of them, Melanie Little. Where was I just recently in one of these chats? Which I usually don't go in chats. I am in my 40s. I don't live in chat rooms. I don't live on YouTube. But, and I don't like communicating in 100 characters or less, because you can't have an intellectual conversation with anybody when you're trying to actually get to the bottom of things and communicate intellectually with another human being with integrity. It doesn't work. So it's really difficult. Anyway, I get blocked from these people. So back to my email, or the message that I left on several of these creators' pages. I said, so I basically went through, like, do you honestly think that the data information that was gathered by Trooper Paul, and shame on all of you who have ripped on him because he was nervous because Alan Jackson was being a total dick, like he was to every state's witness, throwing shade on every single witness, like every single witness that loved John or knew John or was an emergency personnel trying to save his life. They all were treated like they were murderers, like they were on trial. And it's absolutely awful. And people just berated Trooper Paul. Trooper Paul had trouble communicating. And I believe, based on what I have heard since then, is that he did testify in another trial shortly thereafter, and he did great, and they won their case. Probably the defense attorney wasn't a complete gaslighting asshole to him, and he probably learned some tips from having that experience with Alan Jackson, which I really want to talk about Jen McCabe's testimony with the LV Cops, because they need to know the truth about why she's communicating with Alan Jackson the way she is, because she has every single fucking reason in the world to be communicating to Alan Jackson, because he is one of the people that is absolutely responsible for the terrorism that her family has suffered over the past 3 years, and he is knowingly doing this, knowingly sicking Turtle Boy and his mob on these families, sending them to their children's athletic events and in public when they're out. I mean, it is disgusting. And it is also illegal. They should also be brought up on witness intimidation charges, because they were very much involved in that. And note that I'm not saying allegedly, because it is a fact. And again, if you take the time to read Aiden's court documents, you will see that it is in evidence. Okay, they have the evidence. And Turtle Boy is just trying to delay. And he knows that when Karen Reed is convicted, he's fucked. And if anybody wants to support these two after this, I feel really sorry for you and anybody who loves you, because you have been completely had and you are literally brainwashed, and anybody who cares about you is in turmoil and grief having lost you to a cult, because it's mob mentality. It is cult. Okay, it is a cult. I'm not saying that to degrade anybody. I'm not saying that to poke fun. I'm saying that if you truly believe that Karen Reed is innocent, and you truly believe that Karen Reed and Turtle Boy and all of these minions that they have working for them on YouTube are being honest with you, then you are really sadly mistaken, and you are brainwashed, and you will probably need a lot of support to get deprogrammed, like they do. If you know anything about cults, like, it is a process to get you back to reality, and it is scarring. So I truly hope the best for anybody that is and needs to go through that process. I know that there are a lot of people that are just knowingly profiting off of this. They know Karen Reed's guilty. They know Turtle Boy's a piece of shit. Turtle Boy has threatened these people. They have become his prey, and they have become subservient to him because he threatens them, and plus they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of talking about Karen Reed and Turtle Boy and pushing out this narrative that is so obviously not true. And people, I don't know why. I mean, this is not a movie. This is people's lives. Okay, which brings me to my main point and the reason why I want to call out these professionals. Okay, I would really like, let's see. Let's start here. Please listen. Oh, and by the way, M. William Phelps. I am so absolutely overjoyed, would be an understatement, by the fact that you did get on this case, because you are a credible source who clearly knows how to read documents, who clearly knows how to find the truth and report on it and spend your time helping families and victims. And if any of you professionals want to know the truth, please listen to 34 Fairview Road by M. William Phelps. It's on YouTube. It's also on Apple. It's wherever you get your podcasts. You can get it. Please listen to him. He is up to episode 6. There will be a total of 10. The last 2 episodes, 5 and 6, have been very revealing. Okay? The beginning, he's showing you how he got brought in and what he was told. And now he is starting to get to the truth in these last 2 episodes. So I simply cannot wait. We're only on 6. We have 4 more episodes, and 6, the whole thing was completely shot down. Every single lie that Turtle Boy and Karen Reed have spread, he has disproven it. It was disproven in her first trial. It is disproven by the facts and evidence that are in the court documents. But if you don't want to take the time to know the truth, if you just want to profit off of lying to the public, off of helping murderers go free, off of knowingly taking advantage of your audience, off of cowering to the mob that will incite their anger on you in your chat if you do not say things that they want you to say, and if you say things that they don't like, you're being ruled by the cult, and that's disgusting. I beg of you, those of you that are on social media, that have jobs that give you credibility, take a note, take a chapter out of M. William Phelps's playbook. He has written over, I think, 50 crime books. He studies crime cases. He helps do documentaries for these victims' families. He was directly affected by a murder in his family. I don't know the whole backstory to that. I just have gotten pretty much that information. And so he really wants to be a rock for these victims' families, okay? So this is where I'm going to start with my main point, which I'm already almost to an hour of airtime, so I'm probably not going to get to everything I want to, but please listen.
Pounded Karen Reed's vehicle and towed it back to camp.
Whoops, I'm going to slow it down. I have it super fast. Hold on. Sorry about that. Okay.
Massachusetts State Police troopers Michael Proctor and Yuri Buchanan have impounded Karen Reed's vehicle and towed it back to camp. The next stage of the Massachusetts State Police's investigation, which we will get into soon, is a part of this case Turtle Boy and the Free Karen Reed movement view as a conspiracy to frame Karen Reed beginning to evolve. The seeds of which, allegedly planted by, in Turtle Boy's opinion, as you heard him say many times, Jennifer McCabe. If you recall, I verified that Turtle Boy has spoken to Karen Reed for upwards of 40 hours, on top of countless texts, and he continues to communicate with her as I produce this series.
Never once did Karen Reed ever send me any grand jury documents. To the contrary, she made it clear that she couldn't. She wasn't allowed to send grand jury documents. She sent me evidence that was, like police reports and stuff like that, that hadn't been made public yet, right? But she didn't send, and you're allowed to do that. You're legally allowed to do that. It just, all that proves is that, she was a source for me, essentially, on the story.
Let's talk about a little bit about.
Okay, so A, that is false. That is not legal. And I have bitched and moaned about this, but let me just try to touch base on this since I'm trying to appeal to the professionals out there in the YouTube world. Karen Reed fed documents from the grand jury testimony to Aiden. It's literally, he admits it on his own broadcasted YouTube channel. He denies it to M. William Phelps. But the facts are already the facts. He lies. It's his job to lie. He cannot survive life without lying. He doesn't like himself. I can see why. But he literally, I really truly believe that both he and Karen are psychopaths. Now, again, I'm not a clinical psychologist, but I have a lot of life experience, and I don't go around calling people narcissists and psychopath like it's frickin' Skittles, like a lot of people do. They throw out those words. This is not that. I don't know if I've ever actually called another person a psychopath other than like serial killers and true crime people that I have, watched actual real documentaries on about the actual facts. But I have dated in my previous life, when I was actively an alcoholic, I was attracted to very not great men. I don't believe that there were two that were really bad. Both of them I have called sociopaths. I truly believe they were sociopaths and are sociopaths if they're still with us. But I don't think that they even made it to psychopath. And they were very, very not good to me. So, when I call Turtle Boy and Karen Reed psychopaths, I truly mean that they are psychopaths. They do not care what they do to hurt other people. They do not care how anything that they do affects other people. They try to, sometimes they try to put their masks on, but the fact is that neither one of them are very good at that. Karen Reed sucks at having a mask, and I don't understand how intelligent people can look at her behavior and think that it is normal in any way. That woman sat in court glaring at the O'Keefe family. She was flirting and giggling with her attorneys while I don't remember if it was, I think it was Buchanan that showed John O'Keefe's blood-soaked clothes on the stand. She's giggling and flirting with her attorneys. The courtroom is listening to her vile voicemails that she left for her boyfriend, and she is watching the jury, hoping and praying that they aren't absolutely disgusted, because that's normal behavior for her. Okay, those of you out there that want to say that, well, that's just, if she knew she hit him and she was trying to build an alibi, she would say, "Oh, hi honey, I'm gonna go to bed, let me know if you need a ride," or she would leave nice sweet voicemails like a lot of people do. This woman doesn't understand humanity. She doesn't understand what is normal. And also, I believe that she has borderline personality traits, that she literally cannot control her impulses, which is why I believe John O'Keefe is A, dead, and B, how and why she was able to leave those voicemails for this man. She dropped him off at the house and started to drive away, threw her car in reverse, 75% of the pedal, pushed to the metal. She hit John. She had bells and whistles going off in her car. She never hit the brakes. She didn't hit the brakes. At least in that 10-second key cycle, she did not hit the brakes. Her anti-lock brakes likely kicked in. Okay, that is not something that you can do by accident. That is not something that you can do and not realize that you hit a person. Besides the fact that I am sure there was also noise. And I don't like thinking about that, but that is the facts. It is not an accident. You don't throw your car in reverse like that as an accident. It's not an accident. Stop saying that she couldn't have known or that we can't prove that she knew. Explain to me how in the realm of reality she could have done that and not known. I don't give a shit if you say that she was drunk, or I've heard people say that she was blacked out. I was a blackout drinker, okay? And I was an active alcoholic for 20 years. I have lots of experience with blackouts. I blacked out every single time I drank. Okay, that was part of the reason why I enjoy drinking, because I did not enjoy my life. And therefore, having blackouts and not knowing what's going on was a relief. I didn't have to sit in misery, okay? Now, life is good now, and I realized that alcohol was my solution to living in reality. I have since learned how to live in reality. And not only live in reality, but be grateful and enjoy reality. But with that said, Karen Reed knew things. She gave specifics. Blackouts are not like, oh, you just remember bits and pieces. I just heard somebody say, I think it was the Glare was talking about, you can piece shit back together. Yeah, maybe a little bit, but you have to have somebody to tell you what happened. When I first started drinking when I was in high school, my friends would literally tell me what we did that night because I had no memory of it. Every once in a while, they would say something and I would be like, oh yeah, I do remember that, but I don't remember anything after that. Like, I would get to a certain point in the night where they could refresh my memory, but once I was in a blackout, once people black out, you don't come and go into a blackout. You don't come and go into psychopathy. You don't come and go into borderline personality shit. You do not come and go into narcissism. You just don't. So she gave lots of facts, which have been contradicted by her own damn self in every freaking interview that she's done. So she knew things. She wanted to pretend like she didn't know because she was trying to get away with murder. But the fact that you all think that she didn't know is very disheartening. People that don't believe that, because there's no way she didn't. Plus, after all of that, she left, and within, I believe, 15 minutes, if not 10, she started calling him. Actually, I think she had already started calling him before she got home, before she got to his place. I'm going to have to look at the timeline again. But it was within 10 to 15 minutes at the most. She started calling him and leaving those voicemails. Now, one of the voicemails said that she hated him and that he was a pervert. And then she told the world that she thought he was cheating on her. She was an insecure woman who had serious attachment disorders, who couldn't handle any female from what I gather, around John, like if he had girlfriends, it would intimidate her to the point of outrage just from him talking to a woman or giving a woman a hug. Okay? So the woman had insecurities would be an understatement. The woman had jealousy issues would be an understatement. Okay? So if she's calling him before she gets back to John's house, which was like 6 minutes or something, again, I don't have my timeline in front of me, but you get the idea. It was a short period of time, and she's already calling and accusing him of basically sleeping with another woman. She was saying that he thought that he was out screwing around. You dropped him off, and then within 5 or 10 minutes, you think that he is screwing around on you? Like, do you think that he walked into the house, like you say, and dropped his drawers and started boinking somebody in the house right on the kitchen table? I don't understand how that is even something that people can say that she legitimately thought. That is a ruse, okay? The woman is psychopathic. You cannot try to attribute normal human behavior and try to rationalize and understand why she would leave those kind of messages, understand that she was actually, that was her alibi. She was already starting to build an alibi with that. And again, she doesn't understand normal human behavior. She laughs and flirts with her attorneys while people are on the stand showing John's blood-soaked clothes. And for those of you that want to know where all of his blood went, it was in his clothes, you assholes. Look at the testimony. Watch Buchanan take his clothes out and show the jury. And watch what Karen Reed does while he's doing that. The affect of this woman is absolutely not normal behavior. It is not representative of a rational human mind. It is very much mental, I don't even want to say mental illness. I don't know that I would call psychopathy a mental illness, although it is. It's just like the most extreme that really doesn't have any treatment. I mean, if you're a psychopath, you can't be rehabilitated. It's really tragic, but that's just the facts. If you're a psychopath, you literally do not belong in free society. You are a danger when you are among us. And that's another thing that I want people to understand is like, you want to free this woman to be your, and multiple other people, the Menendezes, not like, they want these criminals to be free in the world, which means Karen Reed was a teacher. You want a murderer teaching your children? You want her dating your son or nephew or grandson? Do you want her living next to you? I mean, it's scary. She should not be in society. She literally does not have the capability to understand how to be a responsible and productive member of society. Her family seems to want to protect her for taking any accountability in her entire life. So how is she supposed to even understand that she needs to? She says in that freaking interview, which is total slop, that she just wants to know the truth. And she told her parents that she will take accountability for anything that she's done wrong. And she just wants to know the truth. I mean, that is the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard. She is literally telling you what you want to hear. She definitely does not want to know the truth because she knows the truth. And she has terrorized multiple families and literally a community and a country and a world where she has affected lives in other countries. I mean, it's disgusting. And she doesn't give a shit about any of you. And the sooner you realize that, the better you will be. She is not mentally well. She is not ever going to be a productive member of society. If this woman is not sent to prison, she will be a danger to everyone that she comes into contact with for the rest of her life. I beg of you to think twice about putting her on a pedestal, bringing your children to pep rallies and tailgate parties outside of a murder trial. She is not a role model that you should be putting on a pedestal. She is not somebody that you should be idolizing. She's a murderer and she's psychopathic. And please, instead of standing outside with your signs, why don't you try watching the trial and reading the court documents? Because those of you that refuse to see the truth literally don't want to see the truth. That's why you're not watching the trial. That's why you're only investing your time and money into various standouts and frickin' paying for her defense. Again, now she's hired another attorney. I'm sorry. What the hell does she need another attorney for if she's so fucking innocent? And you know what? Who's paying for all of these high-priced attorneys? I hear Melanie Little constantly freaking saying shit like, oh yeah, no problem. Just have another hearing, and no problem. Karen Reed has to pay for these people to fly in and out of California and take a red eye and whatever. Like, I'm sorry. If you're pissed about that, then you should be pissed at Karen Reed and Turtle Boy, because those are the people that need to be held accountable. The Commonwealth is doing their job. They are trying to find justice for John O'Keefe, and they will prosecute this woman, and they will get a conviction, because Hank Brennan is not fucking around. That is clear by all of his memorandums and motions to the court. He is not fucking around. So I am very curious how many of you will actually hold her accountable, will actually admit that she is guilty, because it will 100%. I have 100% faith that Hank Brennan is going to, I don't know what bringing another attorney on is going to do for her. Do you know that what people do, attorneys, listen up, because I know that you know this, and if you deny it, you're not being intellectually honest. If you don't have the facts on your side, you attack the police. You attack the investigation. You try to pick apart things on an individual basis to try to raise reasonable doubt in the minds of the jury. What are they doing? They are literally trying to make you, in the words of Alan Jackson, look the other way, which, by the way, is the definition of gaslighting. By him saying that in his closing, that is literally what he is doing. But he's telling the jury and the public that that's what the Commonwealth wants. They want the Commonwealth to look the other way. Because 80 people that got up on the stand and risked their livelihood and their freedom and their families under penalties of perjury, they all lied. And the only person that is telling the truth is a murder defendant. And also, she is the only one that did not testify. She loves to go on social media. She loves to do her interviews. She loves to have a frickin' journalist live with her and write, basically Karen Reed write that whole article for her and put it out. I mean, it's so disgusting. Pretty much that's not true. So if you want to be pissed about Karen Reed having to pay for all this shit, you might want to blame Karen Reed, and you might want to blame Turtle Boy, and you might want to blame all y'all self for allowing this to get this far. You have put a wrench in justice if you are putting the shit out like it's fact. And it is really, I want to watch some other shows, but
She sent me evidence
I wanted to hear
that was, like police reports and stuff like that hadn't been made public yet, right? But she didn't send, and you're allowed to do that. You're legally allowed to do that. It's just, all that proves is that she was a source for me, essentially, on the story.
Let's talk about a little bit about Karen and you. So the first time that you have contact with her, and what's it about?
The first time I had contact with her, I called her on the Signal app. We used to use this encrypted app called Signal. And, I just didn't want to go through anymore. And so...
Why? If this is so legal, public, and professionals, really professionals, why are they using an encrypted app to communicate? Do you think it's because it's illegal for Karen Reed to be feeding Turtle Boy information? Karen Reed is the one that put out the autopsy photo of John's arm. She gave that to Turtle Boy. Turtle Boy then took it and photoshopped it to make his marks, his injuries on his arm look deeper and more harmful than they actually were. So not only is she feeding him information, which is illegal, and having phone conversations with him, which is illegal, and her attorneys speaking with Turtle Boy, which is illegal, and feeding him grand jury testimony, which is illegal. And then they go into the courtroom and they present this information to the judge as if this is actual factual journalism. They are speaking to the court as if they don't know Turtle Boy, as if they don't have any connection to Turtle Boy, but they are relying on the information that Turtle Boy is putting out into the public sphere to make their arguments in court, which, by the way, came directly from them, which is illegal. Not only is that an ethical, like they're totally betraying their oath that they took to become attorneys. They are betraying the American justice system. Not only all of that ethical and moral shit, which would be very difficult for a healthy individual to do, and even criminal defense attorneys. You don't throw your reputation and your life and liberty and your family's life and liberty on the line for a murder defendant. You can defend her without committing crimes yourself, but they have committed crimes. And then Josh Levy took it to a grand jury with no probable cause, and then he used Turtle Boy News to question these witnesses who had been terrorized and victimized by this man. It is so repulsive. This is the U.S. State Attorney. He is questioning these state's witnesses with literally Turtle Boy News. And they're sitting there having to answer the state's attorney with the information that is on display for them from the actual person who's been terrorizing them. Can you imagine how that feels? And then these witnesses aren't getting protected by the Commonwealth. They're not getting protective orders. The judges aren't granting them. I mean, it is so disgusting to me. I do not understand what in the hell is going on that these people are not being protected. I am very disgusted with that. I am very disappointed with that. I hope and wish that Hank Brennan steps up and does something about that, because it is still going on to this day.
It's like, you can call her. And I'm like, okay. So I just called her and she answered the phone and we talked for a long time.
That name I bleeped out is one of Karen Reed's college peers, who became involved within the first few days of the story breaking. Some claim she glommed onto Karen and muscled her way into becoming Karen's quasi-public relations person, helping Karen navigate her image and feed information Karen and her team wanted to put out into the public domain without having any public connection to releasing it. From the research I've done and the evidence the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has released, the opposite seems to be true. For now, after getting Karen's number from her friend, Turtle Boy starts talking directly to Karen.
Well, actually, the first time I ever talked to Karen directly was on May 3rd, and that is when I set this all up.
According to a warrant in connection to this case, on April 13th, 2023, Karen's friend mentions the name Turtle Boy to Karen as a blogger with a large following who would like to start reporting on her case. Karen's friend and Turtle Boy begin speaking on April 17th. Shortly after that, Karen Reed agrees to begin working with Turtle Boy, or rather, feeding him information through her friend, avoiding any direct connection to releasing it. At one point, Turtle Boy is encouraged to meet Karen in person, along with her attorneys, at a local Boston bar.
And by the way, when they were at this local Boston bar, one of the attorneys that was there was talking about the fact that there is proof that Karen is guilty. And Turtle Boy got upset because other people overheard this. These are the attorneys talking to one another in public. And there were people, one of which was with Turtle Boy, who is a witness to that. Who is a witness to Karen Reed's attorney saying that there's proof, or another attorney saying that to her attorney. I can't remember which way it goes, but there was a witness that heard them talking about the fact that there's actual factual proof that she is guilty. And Turtle Boy got pissed and was like, shut the fuck up. And there were witnesses also in court documents.
So he goes.
And I just introduced myself, and we talked for a while, and it was my first time ever speaking to Karen Reed directly. And I remember that one of the first things I asked her was, I'm like, how much do you hate Jennifer McCabe? And she said, not nearly as much as I hate Michael Proctor. Because Michael Proctor, Jennifer McCabe is what she is, but Michael Proctor is the person that we're supposed to count on to stop people like Jennifer McCabe and hold them accountable. And he betrayed the public trust. And so what he did is a million times worse than anything Jennifer McCabe did. And so,
okay. Anybody who's listened to me ever before knows how I feel about all of that. I have alluded to that already in this recording. Michael Proctor did nothing wrong. He was unprofessional. Okay, I will correct myself. Yes, he shouldn't have been talking about the case to anybody. He spoke to his close friends who some of them happened to be police officers, which if anybody knows anything about police officers, or anybody that spends the amount of time that police officers spend with each other, they're partners and they become very close. They spend more time with their partners than they do their significant other usually, which is why many people in law enforcement don't have successful relationships. And that's just a fact, because they are committed to their job and the job comes first. And if they don't have a supportive partner that understands that and supports them in that and can allow that in their life to be what it is, then they struggle. Okay? So, that is just that fact. I forgot where I was going. Hold on a second.
I thought that was interesting. So I had a conversation with
Oh, so yes. Again, Proctor, you need to go to Josh Levy. You need to ask him what the probable cause was. I'm sure that you have an attorney by now. I'm sure that you probably have some of these answers. But again, civil rights violations up the yin-yang. There are many people involved with this that have a lot of money that you hopefully will be suing the shit out of because your rights were violated. Please look at Michael Proctor's professional record. You will find that it is unblemished until Turtle Boy and Karen Reed wanted to pretend like he was some big conspirator who wanted to frame Karen Reed and was some corrupt cop. Look at his professional record. When you get rid of good cops, you are going to get replacements of bad cops. And y'all that are in that area that are constantly protesting and calling him all these names and demanding that all of these good people in office and in law enforcement be punished and penalized because they were pissed off that Karen Reed hit and killed her boyfriend, left him to die in the cold for 6 hours. She had 6 hours to get that man help. She spent 2 years of her life with him, raising children with him, who she was clearly not grateful for, who she clearly was resentful toward, and that is what she did. Now, I think that is being a cunt. I think that's a fair assessment. I think that that is putting it mildly. And I think that anybody that takes those actions should expect to be called a cunt or a dick or an asshole or whatever the terminology is. You're a murderer. And you, not only did you let him die in the cold for 6 hours by himself, you then went and terrorized his family for the past 3 years and everybody that loved him for the past 3 years. You are a psychopath, Karen Reed. Nobody with a healthy mind could do that. I could not imagine doing that. I literally, I can't even understand it, which is why I want professionals to understand you cannot make sense of a psychopathic's mind. You cannot understand why she would start calling him 15 minutes after she dropped him off and calling him a pervert and that she hates him and whatever, and make any kind of rational sense out of that. She's a psychopath. That's her mentality. She has impulse control issues, which is borderline personality and psychopathic tendencies. She ran into him and left him to die in the cold and then terrorized him, which literally feels to me like she is killing him over and over and over again. I cannot even imagine how his family and friends feel. You can't make sense of that. You can't. And trying to excuse that and say that she was in a blackout or that if she really hit him, she would have not left mean messages. No, she would have, because she does not understand how a healthy human acts and reacts in healthy human situations. Look at her behavior in court. Look at how she speaks about John. Look at what she said about John and the family in the Vanity Fair article. Look at how she blames the victim in the 2020 and Nightline interviews. And the Vanity Fair article. I mean, this is not a healthy mind. And I don't understand why intelligent, otherwise emotionally and intellectually intelligent people can try to rationalize that. It's not rational. You can't make sense out of it. And if you are, and you literally think that she's innocent, and you literally want to put her on this pedestal, then I suggest that you get off social media, speak with some friends. Maybe you need to get a therapist. There's no shame in therapy. Therapists go to therapy, okay? It's healthy. Everybody should have a therapist, whether you're going through a hard time or a good time. It's just a good thing to have in your life. So please, for the sake of your own mental health, you need to seek help if you literally think that she is innocent. If you literally are giving her your time and money and energy, please talk with somebody. You are going to run into a brick wall, and it is going to hurt your life drastically if you do not reach out and get some help. Again, I am not saying that to be rude or mean or judgmental or any of those things. I sincerely care, which is one of the reasons why I'm so pissed at these professionals who report shit like it's actual real life and like it's actual innocence. Like, please stop doing that, because you are hurting, you are taking advantage of people that are maybe going through their own hard time, or they somehow need to fight for a cause and they throw themselves into this and they have found an identity there, which is cult, okay? Once your identity is dictated by this so-called movement, you are brainwashed and you need to be deprogrammed, like people that are in cults, like Scientology and the Nexium and all of these different things that you can learn about cult-like behavior and cult-like thinking. Turtle Boy is a cult leader. This is not an exaggeration. He literally is dictating to his audience what they are allowed to do and what they are not allowed to do. And if they go against what he says, then they will be victimized. They will be blogged about. He blackmails people. He lies about people. He destroys lives. I just learned that Just Machado, who's this reporter that like has no intellectual honesty in her reporting, or is brainwashed, or both. I don't know. Turtle Boy, like, freaking wrote a blog about her that destroyed her professional ambitions, and she still is like, now she's like best friends with Turtle Boy and totally along for the ride reporting on this and using this as her claim to fame, which literally, those of you that are doing that, you are destroying your own integrity and your own credibility in your profession. You will be destroyed in this with people who are intellectually honest. Like Melanie Little's follows. I don't understand you. You love that woman. You think that she is smart. You hold her up on a pedestal. I don't understand how y'all can't see through that. She is not being intellectually honest about that. Not at all. And it scares me that there are many, she has thousands of followers that watch her and trust her in her reporting. She gets her reporting and she gets her talking points directly from the defense and Karen Reed and Turtle Boy. This information cycles from Karen Reed and the defense to Turtle Boy and or different various creators, and then they all get their same talking points and they all have their own personalities and they push it out into the ether in their own way with their own audiences, and then they live in their echo chambers and they just keep regurgitating the same shit. They keep talking about shit that's been disproven, factually disproven. 227 factually disproven. Breaking a taillight, driving 1 mile an hour into John's vehicle, factually disproven. She walks out of court after that was factually disproven by her own crash daddies, aka ARCA. Literally, the one good thing that they did on the stand was say no, her tail light could not break from 1 mile an hour impact. Besides the fact that taillights wouldn't break because there's bumpers on both vehicles, so it wouldn't come in contact in the first place. 1 mile an hour is not going to make it crack. Y'all want to say that John's elbow hitting it couldn't crack it, but yet you want to believe, you want your own brain to believe that simultaneously his elbow coming into contact with that, driving 24 miles an hour, making contact with whether it was his elbow or his glass or something, you want to believe that couldn't happen. But yet, simultaneously, you want to believe that her driving 1 mile an hour and love tapping John O'Keefe's vehicle is going to break her taillight. Make that make sense, people. This is what I mean. I don't understand how you can look at those two things and say, yeah, I totally believe that, and that totally makes perfect sense, and I totally support this woman and hold her up on a pedestal. I don't get it.
Because Michael Proctor, Jennifer McCabe is what she is, but Michael Proctor is the person that we're supposed to count on.
And Jennifer McCabe, this is what I wanted to get to. Let me see.
Bryan Tully goes back to...
Hold on a second. Dang it.
By this time, they are working under the only theory that makes sense.
I am very disappointed because I thought...
Because I 100% know that people in elected roles and in power roles...
This is it.
Awful messages.
This is what I want to appeal to the professionals. I'm going to have to redo this. I know this is really... I don't have a well put together podcast, but and this is so long already that nobody's gonna probably sit and listen to the whole thing, so I'm probably gonna start here in my next one, maybe later tonight, but I want to do this at least because this was my main point.
Do you think well, basically harassment, bloggers, people online roles in small towns can get away with anything, even murder.
Karen did point it out at one point in the driveway. She said, my taillight, look at my taillight. And I looked at it and I said, you told me you don't remember anything from last night. She said, do you think I hit him? Do you think I...
Well, basically harassment. Bloggers, people online, constant phone calls, emails, awful messages, people showing up at her house, people emailing my school. Just like a lot of harassment.
That was Jen McCabe's daughter. So when y'all throw Jen McCabe under the bus, like, the LV Cops TV likes to do, which, again, I'm probably just going to start back here on my next podcast or my next episode when I try to do this again. They're like the people that believe this conspiracy and haven't done the actual research, they believe that Jen McCabe is some sort of villain. And yeah, she is defensive on the stand, but it is important for y'all to know why, which is why I thought the whole Aiden Carney debacle and the federal investigation literally should have been part of the first trial. And if I'm correct in remembering, I believe that it was the defense that actually motioned to the court that they did not want the federal information coming into court. They didn't want to be able to bring any of that up, but they wanted to be able to use Proctor's text because that's the only thing that the investigation found. There was zero corruption found at all in this federal investigation, which was done last March before the trial. When they handed over their 3,000 and some page report, that was the end of the investigation. They hand in the report when they are done with the investigation. It has been over since last March. It has almost been a year, and people still are pushing out that the feds are still gonna just come and make arrests. Okay, the reason why Jen McCabe is defensive on the stand is there's multiple layers to it. It is Karen Reed and Turtle Boy and all of these disgusting cult followers that do not do their own research and do not dig for the truth and believe what a awful so-called, he wants to call himself an award-winning journalist. The guy won some kind of award in some kind of non-important newspaper or something that he probably made up himself. He is not an award-winning journalist. Any journalist, professional journalist, would look at what he does and literally want to throw up. You talk about bad cops making all cops look bad and having to restore the trust. It's the same thing. You would not, okay, Ashley Banfield, she consistently makes mistakes or actually decides to, again, I don't know if it's a political connection, like she tried to debunk the picture of Alan Jackson grabbing Karen Reed's titty, and she brought a professional on to say that it was fake. It is not fake. It was proven. It was in the New York Post and several other well-respected published papers or magazines or journals, whatever. And they can't just put that in the New York Post without checking the metadata. It was proven. And when Alan Jackson was reached out to ask for comment, whether it was him or one of his talking heads, literally said that it was like them just goofing around, and he kissed Yanetti that night too, apparently, and whatever. So, I mean, didn't deny it. And so, yeah, it actually is factual. And I really hope that his wife gets the hell away from him while he's in Boston, because I can't imagine being gaslit by this man and having him as a husband. I can't believe his wife would have any. She's a prosecutor. I don't understand how she. I mean, I'm sure they don't talk work, I'm sure, but still, like, he is. If he's a gaslighter like this in his job, I can't imagine what he's like as a dad and especially a partner. I can't even imagine. I keep digressing here, though. But so Jen McCabe has been villainized. She's the villain. She's the one that's, responsible for getting all of these people in cahoots and making this conspiracy work, and then getting in the ear of John O'Keefe's family and his niece and nephew and his mother and father and brother. And she's the one that is conspiring to put all of these to frame John's girlfriend and free his actual murderers, okay? And as a result of her being villainized, Karen Reed has told Turtle Boy all of these state's witnesses' addresses, and then he organized a rolling rally, went to their homes, with a mob of people, and called these people murderers, cop killers, every awful name that you can think of, at their homes. Okay? Proctor as well. At their homes. These people have children. You just heard a soundbite from Jen McCabe's daughter. Colin Albert was on a scholarship, I think football scholarship. He was just going to college. He was 17 when this happened, graduated, was going to start his college career, and Turtle Boy harassed him so viciously at his football practices that he literally withdrew from school, gave up his football scholarship, and likely had to, I don't know, he was a 17-year-old young adult. He left school. I'm imagining that he had some serious, mental health issues as a result of everything that Turtle Boy was doing to his family, to his friends' families, and everywhere that they went and everything that they did, they were Turtle Boy stood outside of Chris Albert's pizza place and was screaming that it was blood pizza and cop killers own that place, and would order food and not pay for it and send food from the D&E pizza to other people, and they took the financial hit, because nobody ever paid for it. Besides the fact that he's obviously going to lose business because people aren't going to want to walk through some crazy man standing there with a bullhorn talking about blood pizza and calling him a cop killer, not because they even necessarily agree with that, but because they just don't want to deal with him harassing them as they walk into the pizza place. This is what they've been dealing with for 3 years. Then he's downtown. He literally takes his now girlfriend, who has plenty of issues of her own. I mean, these people that are attracted to each other, like Meredith and Aiden and Karen Reed and Alan Jackson and Yanetti and all of these psychopaths that have no regard for humanity. Aiden takes Meredith to, I think it was the waterfall, to eat on the eve of when the jury was in deliberations, which also, by the way, when Alan Jackson was grabbing Karen's titty, they were out celebrating because they knew that they were going to have a hung jury. Do y'all know that? That was the night before the jury came back hung. And they were celebrating. What do you think that means? How would they know that? Perhaps there was an FKR or two in the jury room that then fed them the information. I truly hope that this next jury is protected and that Aiden is not allowed in that courtroom. He has no right to be in that courtroom. In fact, I think both of his and Karen Reed's bail should be revoked, and they both need to be jailed and wait for trial. They are terrorizing that community. It's disgusting. They want to talk about Duckgate. You want to know why Duckgate is such a big deal and why it's not a fucking joke? Because it's just another way to terrorize these people. It is witness intimidation. If you don't look at the whole and you only see pieces, you will never find the truth. If you are truth seekers, which I think that you should be as law enforcement, as medical professionals, as attorneys, as journalists, as any professional in the world that has their own YouTube channel and doesn't seek the truth and doesn't provide their audience with the truth, is a travesty, and it should be something that you're ashamed of, and you should learn from this. And from here forward, I hope you make better decisions and that you actually do your own research, and that you don't just take information from grifters on YouTube, because it's all lies. You are only relying on information reported by YouTubers. And unfortunately, mainstream media got on board with this shit too. Nancy Grace did one interview during the Reed trial with that other frickin' chick that says she's a journalist that was totally buying into this. Lauren something, I think. She actually did help getting dog on Sebastian's case, but she's like, yeah, Nancy, I mean, you have to hear this. It's totally believable. And Nancy's like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, this woman, like, I know what happened because I reported on it when it first happened. 2 years ago, and the woman's guilty, and what in the hell are you talking about? Like, like, people that reported on it when it happened know that it was exactly what it was. And it is second-degree murder, which, again, you can listen to my last podcast to understand why I think that. I am going to do another live at some point in the next few days because I want to do this better. I want to start with the appeal to the audience from a humanity standpoint, from a professional standpoint. Okay, because this is an atrocity what's happening when we are having professionals not take this seriously and not look at what is truly happening and not report on it with intellectual and experiential integrity. It's very disappointing. Yeah, so again, the reason why Jen McCabe is so defensive is because she knows Alan Jackson. She is not going to be gaslit. She is not going to allow her family to continue to be victimized by this bullshit conspiracy theory. And Alan Jackson is directly helping terrorize her family. Facts and evidence. Read the court documents for Aiden's court case. Stop believing a proven liar, a proven abuser, a proven cheater, a proven disgusting human being. I don't give a shit if you say, well, yeah, he's a disgusting person, but we really appreciate him for what he's done in this case. If you think he's a disgusting person, why do you think that he has integrity when it comes to this case? He has proven who he is over and over again. He blackmails people, lies about people, uses and abuses people, and it's disgusting. But now for Karen Reed, he's credible. Help me understand that. You can't be both. You just can't. So, yeah, Jen McCabe was very strong. She is a strong woman. She is not going to let Alan Jackson twist her fucking words. And if you don't understand why, which is unfortunate because the jury clearly wouldn't know why because they're not allowed to investigate why. And that's why I thought it was a travesty because if they don't understand why she is so defensive on the stand, then obviously that can look a certain way. And they're confused as to why. And it could look like she's hiding something, or why is she being defensive? Because her family has been terrorized and is continuing to be terrorized. So it's really unfortunate that the jury didn't have that information. But all of y'all in public that are reporting on this, y'all don't have any excuse to not understand why she's being defensive on the stand. And I'll get more into that when I try my second round at this because it's a super important point. Now, I don't think I finished my comment, so I'm going to reread that and I'm going to end because I do want to go watch Kevin. And so this is the comment that I've left on many professionals' pages, including Andrew D. Myers, including Lawyer including LV Cops. Although I think LV Cops TV has blocked me because I I tried to post on theirs after my first post, and it just erased right away, so I'm assuming they blocked me. I don't really know how YouTube works, so I don't know if it's them deleting me or if it's YouTube deleting me or some shit, but it seems to work on people that haven't blocked me. My messages stay, but on pages where they might not appreciate my intellectual comments that are respectful but completely devoid of lies and conspiracy theories and debunks all of their bullshit, I seem to not be able to leave comments on their pages after I initially make contact. So I just want y'all to hear me loud and clear, because you, LV Cops, I couldn't post this. The other lawyers, I would really appreciate a response. Andrew D. Myers, I would really appreciate a response. Andrew D. Myers at least does not block me. However, every single comment in that comment page has been liked by Andrew D. Myers, except mine. Every single one. So clearly, he doesn't want to address it. I would appreciate a response. So here it is. Please answer this question. Have you ever accidentally threw your car in reverse with 75% of the accelerator pushed down, had all the bells and whistles in your prestigious Lexus SUV designed specifically for safety going off, hit something, yet never hit the brake yourself? Again, at least in that 10-second key cycle, it's not reported that she even touched the brake. So it seems to be that she is relying solely on her anti-lock brakes. Do you think that's an accident? Keep in mind, she was going forward before she threw her car in reverse. That data was collected from the SUV in trial 1. Forward into reverse, 24 miles an hour, 62 feet, made contact, had the steering wheel jerk 5% and 5 degrees, a small amount, as well as a half a percentage of decrease in speed, which is indicative of a pedestrian hit after 62 feet. But I believe the vehicle traveled a total of somewhere between 62 and 90 feet. Okay, and within that 10-second cycle of this ridiculous car getting thrown in reverse from going forward, making contact, a pedestrian strike, still going, bells and whistles, okay, that's not on accident. Have you ever went 24 miles an hour ever on purpose? Even? How about now on accident? Does that sound like an action that you can take on accident? Please answer. That seems to me to be a rock solid on purpose action. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Leave me a comment if you think that that is intellectually honest, that could be an accident. Let me know if you've ever driven 24 miles an hour in reverse on purpose, and let me know if you've ever done it on accident. Also, if you're going to have defense attorneys such as Betterow, I think it would be prudent to also have conversations with folks that know this case and speak with integrity and truth from the perspective of guilt. I would greatly appreciate it. You can have an attorney on, but you have to find an attorney that's going to be intellectually honest, and it's pretty hard to find because of what Turtle Boy does. He comes after people who speak out against Karen Reed and him, and the attorneys that know that this is obviously a sham are scared to talk about it. So you might have to get somebody on your show that won't give up their identity and maybe isn't even an attorney but knows the case inside and out. There are some on YouTube. Mass Mafia, Twisted Tragedies, Antiquated Rogue, myself, Sunny Spirit, Kevin Lanahan with Yellow Cottage Tales, Boundless Millennial, Matt with Boundless Millennial, Karen with True Crime and Some Wine. There are people that I know would be willing to speak who are very intelligent, who are respectful, and who will be a voice from the truth. I think it's only fair that if you're going to entertain one side of the argument, you should also entertain the other, don't you? Don't you think that's the professional way to handle this? So have people on there that speak with integrity from the perspective of guilt. I would greatly appreciate it. Please remember, juries decide if witness testimony is credible. And if they deem it credible, they decide how much weight to give it. All of the defense witnesses were clearly biased. And one, at least one, was completely unqualified, being the dog expert. Good luck with that. David Yanetti, in a pretrial motion, told the court that he was dropping the dog stuff. Judge Bev Canoni asked him if he wanted to do anything more with the dog DNA and wanted to get any more testing done. They know where the dog is in Vermont. Chloe's in Vermont, and if I have to, I will go and get her and have my Perry Mason moment, bringing Chloe the dog to face her, what's the word I'm looking for? The people that are blaming her, face her, God, my brain, it's Friday night, it's not working. Face the people that are claiming that she's guilty, and I will sit up on the stand and I will interpret dog for all of you so that she can face her accuser. There we go. I would be more than willing to do that. The defense knows where she is. They have her DNA. They also have her teeth imprints. So if they really wanted to prove this, why did they not bring any of that in? That expert was not qualified, and anybody that knows anything about dogs and has some integrity could see through that. You're lying if you think that she was credible. It's that simple, okay? All of the defense witnesses were clearly biased, and at least one completely unqualified, and the remaining, meaning ARCA, only given the tech, Richard Green, okay, both ARCA and Richard Green were only given cherry-picked evidence from the defense, straight from Josh Levy, which again, we need to know, Josh Levy, why were you trying to free a murderer? Why did you get involved? Why did you only give cherry-picked evidence like you wanted to go against the Commonwealth, of which you are the highest government official? How disgusting. Y'all want to be outraged? You should be outraged at Josh Levy, because without Josh Levy playing interference, this sham would not have gotten this far. The reason that people still hold on to this shit is because of the federal involvement. You hear that feds are investigating the investigators. Obviously, that stinks. That's how it got my attention. And I literally was like, okay, there's something fishy going on. I researched. I dug in. I got facts before I ever spoke on it. I don't speak on shit that I am not educated on. I don't make claims that I can't back up with evidence. And if I do, obviously I say, this is my opinion. I am not a police officer. I am not a psychologist, for example, okay? But again, I have life experience, as do jurors. And they are to use their common sense, and they are to decide if the witnesses are credible. And if they get past the credibility mark, then they decide how much weight to give their testimony. So they were only given cherry-picked evidence from the defense and Josh Levy for whatever reason, which hopefully we'll find out. That's not credible, nor does it carry any weight. Seems the jury agreed with me on this matter. And those of you that keep saying, Jackson and Reed want the car data, okay, this is my next paragraph. Jackson was confident about the car data because he literally has zero say in the matter. The Commonwealth is entitled to this evidence, and they gave the defense, the Commonwealth, Hank Brennan, gave the defense the respect of letting them know when and where the testing was going to happen and allowing them to have their own expert present for the testing. It is a courtesy. Again, they could make a motion to deny it. It would be dismissed. The Commonwealth is entitled to that, okay? So it was a courtesy to allow them to have their own expert because it could be destroyed. Hopefully it won't, and hopefully we get answers that will put no doubt in any juror's mind. What would Jackson, for those of you that believe that Karen Reed and Jackson want this and they're not scared of this, then what do you think Jackson would do if he or Karen or Yanetti or any of these people were scared of it? What do you think he would do? Exactly what he did. If he filed a motion to prevent the testing, it would obviously be denied. We all know this, and he would never show his fear. The truth is, both KR and Turtle Boy and their attorneys, the truth about them is starting to come out, which I'm going to go listen to Kevin and Kate, so check out their lives. If you're still here with me, I'm going to go directly over to Kevin first, and then, I think Kate's on. I think I missed Kevin, so I might go to Kate's and then watch the replay of Kevin's. Because there's truth coming out, and people that were involved that either are starting to grow a conscience or have started to have the veil lifted and see this for what it is, are starting to come forward because it is so wrong and they can't live with themselves and continue on with this. So it's starting to come out, and it is going to blow up. They have all, including the attorneys, as well as Josh Levy, who is technically an attorney, he's a state's attorney, taken criminal actions. All of them. Turtle Boy, Karen Reed, her family, her attorneys, all of these YouTubers, all of it. Cut the heads off of all of them. It is RICO. You cannot put one in jail and expect this to go away. Turtle Boy proved that when he was in jail, and he had other people running his social media and continuing to speak with Karen Reed and continuing to get fed information from the defense and continuing on with the sham. That is why all of these people need to be held accountable. All of them have taken criminal actions, and lots of them. They have committed fraud on the court. Almost every time they have went to court to argue. I hope to see the opposite perspective soon. Big Case Mike from Court TV would be my vote, but it's up to you, obviously. Love and light. That is the message that I have left on every professional's page that I can find, and I am hoping to get comments back, or at least recognition that it was read. And ideally, I would love to see them respond and also have somebody on their podcast that believes that Karen is guilty and have an honest intellectual conversation with them. I think it's only right to entertain both sides if you are going to even entertain Karen Reed. I mean, I can't believe anybody could honestly still believe this shit. Feds are done. Morrissey is not corrupt. He was trying to figure out what in the fuck was going on because he knew that there was some kind of conspiracy happening amongst his ranks. He doesn't have a burner phone, and he doesn't have a burner email. It is his personal email. Okay, it's not burner, and representing it like that is not accurate. Karen Reed and Turtle Boy have burners. Morrissey does not. He was not hiding it. It came from his own personal email. Okay? Judge Bev is not corrupt. I sure hope she tightens up her courtroom because she is very defense orientated. I cannot believe how the defense absolutely criticizes her. If they had any other judge, they would not have gotten away with half the shit that they got away with. She is very defense orientated. Turtle Boy was told that from the jump. I can't remember who, but he read that out for his audience, an actual message from somebody from within that district that knew, she was a great judge to have for the defense. This whole fake news about them wanting her off because she's part of the corruption is bullshit. If they had a different judge, they wouldn't be able to get away with this shit. And I certainly hope she tightens this shit up this time, because they should not be allowed to have this much rope. It's disgusting. And the fact that Adam Lally, I give you so much credit, Adam Lally. I do not understand why you allowed the defense expert to pull the fucking car data. What in the hell? I mean, it is by the grace of God, John himself being an angel for his own case to get some freaking justice, that wasn't destroyed, and that Hank Brennan came in, and that Hank Brennan's not going to let this shit fly, and that he can go have it retested. But the fact that you had an expert from the defense pull that, and you relied on that, I don't understand that. I mean, clearly you give defense attorneys a lot of credit for being honest. These two are not honest. Whether or not that expert knew that she intentionally didn't get all the data, I don't know. But it sure smells fishy. There's 2 more boards that weren't even pulled. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't understand that. And one more thing that I want to say is that everybody's bitching about Hank Brennan coming on, and again, it's your tax dollars are paying for this, and why is this big hitter coming in to persecute Karen Reed? They always throw that out there. It's their little joke. It's not funny, and it's not true. They are prosecuting, not persecuting Karen Reed. She actually does deserve persecution in the court of public opinion, but she's being prosecuted and hopefully will be held accountable for her actions. And I hope that Judge Bev has the balls enough to give her the sentence that she deserves. She deserves the highest sentence. She deserves the entire rest of her life to be not free, because of all the shit that she has done and the terror that she has incited in your community. To let her get away with that, or to have any kind of leniency, I fucking hope that Judge Bev is not gonna do that shit. That scares me, because I know she was a public defender, and I know that she leans defense, and that scares the shit out of me that she's still gonna be lenient after she's convicted, and it scares the shit out of me. But, so my point about Hank Brennan is that, let me show you my puppy. We'll have one happy thing happen here, because this is always a heavy. Oh, hi. Hi, sweetie boy. Hi. Yeah. You want to be YouTube famous? Oh, how cute are you? What the hell? Oh, they want to bitch about him getting paid $75,000, which is pennies of what he should be getting. But if you want to blame somebody for that, again, you need to blame Karen Reed and Turtle Boy. And to answer your question on why he was brought in on the case, do you think it might have to do with the fact that everybody and their brother are accusing every single person in law enforcement and in the government that they are dirty and corrupt? The judge is in on it. The ER people are in on it. The ambulance, the fire department. the district attorney, all of the police officers. I mean, every single person in that community is corrupt, according to the FKR people. So do you think that they might have brought in an outside source to prevent people from being able to continue to say that this is all a conspiracy and all of these people are in on it? Why would a defense attorney who was a prosecutor, who clearly has high morals and ethics, why would he come in and prosecute somebody if he didn't believe that he was going to get a conviction? Do you think so? Now is Hank Brennan in on it too? Is he now part of the corruption? He wanted Whitey Bulger to take the stand, but he's going to be corrupt now? Because that is why he got brought in. He did not want there to be even the appearance of impropriety at all. You're still saying that Judge Bev has connections to Proctor and they go to her beach house and the Alberts, I don't know, somebody messaged her about whatever. Like, you're still saying that shit as if that would not have been flushed out and literally proven if it were true. You really think Alan Jackson and Yanetti wouldn't demand her recuse herself? I mean, they could have taken that to the Supreme Court if they truly had factual evidence that any of that was true. So the judge is corrupt, and now I'm sure that Hank Brennan is corrupt. But that's why Hank Brennan was brought in, because D.A. Morrissey is trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Why? I mean, there was a prosecutor that was involved in FKR. He's prosecuting Turtle Boy. I mean, we all need to keep our eyes on this shit, because there is corruption and there is a conspiracy, but they are trying to defend and protect criminals. The people in power, the people that have pull, are trying to get the criminals free. It's so scary. Okay, so now Hank Brennan is saying, I'm going to give you everything. I'm going to give you my family tree if you want it. Anything. I'm handing over everything that matters and everything that doesn't matter. I am going to tell you every move I make, every step I take. I'll be watching you. He's telling him everything. He's making sure that the defense is very aware. He's respectful. He's articulate. He is asking permission rather than asking forgiveness, which he's being shit on by Melanie Little for that too, and Betterow. And why didn't he do this? But, well, because he wants to make sure that he is following the law, and he wants to make sure that he's not making any assumptions. And maybe that was an oversight. I don't know. But I heard Emily D. Baker do her breakdown, and she said, I think that that's a good idea to ask for permission rather than forgiveness. I don't think she said rather than forgiveness, but that's what I added, because that's the saying, like, ask permission and make sure that you're on the up and up, because everybody and their brother is being accused of being corrupt and in on this conspiracy. So he's not making a step that everybody isn't 100% aware of. And as far as Judge Bev telling Jackson to take a red eye that everybody wants to bitch about, go watch Lawyer You Know. He said that's totally normal. Judges do that all the time. They need you. This is like, it's at the mercy of the courts that they're in. If these attorneys want to practice in Massachusetts and they live in California, then they're going to have to make it work, and not at their convenience, at the court's convenience. That is their job as an attorney. So for Judge Canone to say, take a red eye, is not a big deal. Go listen to the Lawyer You Know say that it happens all the time. Okay? And if they want to have experts fly in from California, then you can't be pissed at the prosecution. Again, you need to be pissed at Karen Reed and Turtle Boy, because those are the two that are making all of this shit happen. And with the help of Josh Levy and the defense team and da-da-da-da-da, as I've already said. It is not the Commonwealth's fault or responsibility to worry about the convenience of a murder defendant and her defense team. It is their job to find justice for the victim and the victim's family. It is their job to run a clean courtroom and to ensure that things are done by the law, by the book, in a timely manner, and that is it. That's their job. I mean, again, you cannot be claiming to be intellectually honest and fault them for literally doing what the prosecution is supposed to do. They are not doing anything outlandish. And again, if Karen Read wants to hire attorneys from Timbuktu and Taekwondo and New York and Zimbabwe and California, then it is on her and her defense team to either do it pro bono or for her and her freaking cult to pay for all of these people. And yeah, taxpayers of the Commonwealth, you should be pissed because this frickin' trial should have been done in trial 1. It should have never got this far. The feds should have never been involved. Josh Levy should have never stuck his nose into this. You want to blame people? Blame the right people, because your tax dollars are going to this trial. But they are trying to get justice for a murder victim. So if you want to frickin' blame somebody, blame the people who are actually responsible. All right, so I am sorry. It is really hard for me to look at chat when I'm talking. And so I do see that some people were communicating. I don't know if they're still in here, but I'm going to try and read and see if I got any questions or anything that I can answer. So bear with me. And if you are in here, I don't know why you would hate Jen McCabe. Like I said, if you want to know the truth, please go to Masshole Mafia Official is the YouTube channel, and Yellow Cottage Tales. They both have podcasts. I missed Kevin's, and now Kate's should be starting. So if you want to get facts from credible people who read court documents and speak truth, then seek it. If you want to live in a fantasy land, fine, but do not create more victims. So, hi, Miss Dark Humor. I need to get back to you. I have had a fucking shit week, and today was no exception. And I just had a really tough afternoon, and I just thought I really wanted to hear from Kevin and Kate, and I didn't want to wait. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to go for it. I really wish that I had a better setup so I could do this more professionally, but maybe one of these days I will. Jen is not going to prison. Conscious Machine, if you really want to seek the truth, please, if you don't want to believe me or Kate or Kevin and you think we're all lying, then go FOIA the court documents for both Karen Read and Turtle Boy, Aiden Kearney, and read through the court documents. Those are the facts. If you are seeking truth, that's where you will find it. You don't have to believe me or Kate or Kevin or... Oh, Miss Dark Humor, just if anybody's still in here, she just started a channel, so check her out too. Miss Dark Humor, she spells humor. Humor. And she's obviously well educated and brings some dark humor in as well. She just started, so like me, we're both, neither of us have, she's actually putting out better quality, like technology quality than me, because I really do this kind of as a podcast, so you can listen while you're washing dishes or folding clothes or whatever. Maybe I'll get better, but I really don't know that I need to do a lot more. I just really wanted to call out some professionals, and I probably will want to do this again and do it a little bit more succinctly. But I completely 100% believe in Hank Brennan. I 100% believe that the truth is starting to actually be exposed. I 100% believe that Hank Brennan's going to get this right. He is not letting shit fly. He is making motions. He is getting everything that he can possibly get. He is not going to take his foot off the pedal either. He's not going to touch his brakes, Karen Reed. How do you fucking like it? Oh, conscious machine. I don't know why you like to troll, and I don't even have time for that. Miss Dark Humor, yeah, why are you here? What makes you think Jenna's going to prison? Get a grip. Nasty photo flipping. Ugh. The 227 has been debunked by the top tech guy in Celebrate, okay? So if you trust Celebrate in every criminal court case that has proven facts, then the top dog in that company got on the stand, risked his reputation as well as the company, Celebrate, and disproved the 227, as well as Jessica Hyde, who has an incredible CV and incredible experience. They disproved it with two amazing experts. Like, you cannot get a better expert than Ian Whiffen, okay? And the defense's person, Richard Green, finally acquiesced at the end of his testimony with Lally asking him 15 different ways and Richard Green trying to wiggle out of it. Lally wouldn't let him wiggle out of it and kept asking the question. And Richard Green finally admitted that he made a mistake and he was wrong. And that was how his testimony ended. So if you believe that that is true, then you need to go watch the experts that testified. Oh, poor Miss Dark Humor. Yeah. Let me see. Hello from Brazil. Oh my gosh, hello Brazil. I hope you hi Jimbo. I hope Brazil sees facts as facts. I hope you understand that these people have terrorized this community. But thank you for listening either way. Robert, yeah, I don't understand. You know, I started watching Andrew Myers with the Kohberger case, and I appreciated him, and he got really defensive about Howard Bloom's book, which I get it. He used to be a journalist, but Howard Bloom is pushing out a book as if it's facts, and people are treating it as if it's facts, as if he knows what went down in that crime. I'm sorry, did he solve the crime and none of us know about it? I don't understand how he can put that out and people interview him. Even Nancy Grace holds him to the highest standard as if his book is completely nonfiction. I don't think it's advertised as nonfiction. I didn't buy it, so I don't know. But that was really my latest experience with him before this. And like, I appreciated him. He doesn't offer a whole lot, I don't think, you know. And then with this, I was so disgusted by both him and Lainey Law. Like, I don't get it. It's their community. I don't understand why they would want to have people terrorize their community, which is a whole nother thing, because I think, like, if they keep doing this shit, there will be riots. More lives will be lost. These people are dangerous, and these witnesses are not protected. They don't even have protection orders, many of them. Jill Daniels didn't get the judge wouldn't grant her a protective order. I was watching that like, what in the shit? I wanted to slap that judge sideways. If I could have frickin' dialed into that courtroom that man would have got like his ass handed to him, because he kept asking, what is the physical danger? He kept asking Mello, what's the physical danger that she's in? She is being stalked. Do you understand what stalked means, Your Honor? Do you understand that when women are being stalked by men, it is not far away that they will either be injured or killed? Stalking is a hunting term. People stalk their victims, which is hunting. But serial killers and criminals and people who are unhinged stalk people. That is the closest thing that you're going to get before actual physical harm comes to that person. If those judges don't see that, I don't understand how they are sitting on a bench handing down rulings. It blows my mind. Yeah, well, I hope the door didn't itch in the ass on the way out there, Conscious Machine, or whatever your name was. Casey, how are you? I'm still trying to get a hold of Twisted Tragedy. I really want to talk with that woman. If you're still here, I'm going to try and get, if she goes on with Antiquated Rogue again, then hopefully I can call in and speak to her. I'm so glad that you all, like, kind of know that I can't read chat. So as I'm going through this, yeah, Emily, Suzanne, if you're in here, Yanetti and Jackson, I don't know what that question was, but have they committed crimes? Absolutely. Have they completely shit on their oath from their moral and ethical bounds that they are bound to when they take the oath? Yes. They, at the very least, should never be able to practice law again. They have committed fraud on the court, and they have committed criminal behavior. So I don't know if that's your question. I can explain that in further detail. I think I did in my last episode. So if you're still here, you can listen to that, or you can reach out to me and ask me. Emily, Suzanne, Paul has reached out to Levy. He literally told us on that one interview that we got from him that he had emailed him. I can't remember if he said he called him, but he definitely emailed him. I think he said he called him and left him voicemails, but he said that Josh Levy was completely avoiding him, would not return any of his messages, and then Paul said that if he had to, he would camp outside Josh Levy's office to get answers, which, like I said, he has a family, he has a job, he has life, he has to grieve, he has all this shit going on that's like actual factual life. So if he could actually go sit outside his office and demand answers, I don't know. Like I said, I hope he does. I hope that somebody does. All these people that are spending all this time protesting corruption, they should be at Josh Levy's fucking office. If 5 people went there and stood outside his door and walked around with picket signs right in front of his office door demanding answers, I think he would get pretty sick of it, and I think we might get some answers. I don't know, but I would really appreciate it if there are some people in the area that would go do that for the O'Keefe family, because they may not be able to, but he has to. He has to give them an answer. No, I'm not rude with my comments. I literally read that. It was like 3 paragraphs that I read. That's my latest comment to all these professionals. So it was very respectful, and matter of fact, I asked them to answer a question, and I posed several questions, and I pointed out some facts that they probably don't want to deal with, but they literally just ignore it, block me, or just pay no mind. I think they will probably use Trooper Paul as a witness again. I don't know how, I'm not an attorney, so I don't know how that works. I don't know if they have to bring Trooper Paul back up, but what they really need is a professional like ARCA that can tie all of the evidence together and actually do an accident reconstruction and look at the car, get the tech stream data, even take the vehicle to the crime scene and actually do what ARCA is known to do. Because then they could tie all of the tech stream data, black box information with all, there's other data that's going to come out of there. They could even potentially get pictures. I mean, I know that there is pictures on the front and back of that vehicle. So could that be part of the data? I doubt it. I doubt even if we got one that it would show much of anything because of the weather, and I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know if that's a possibility. But then they could tie all of that data, as well as the Apple Health data, as well as the GPS from John's phone, potentially Karen Reed's phone, which this is another thing I haven't brought up, but I keep meaning to, is that Kevin says that Karen's phone was in airplane mode. And he makes an excuse because he says that it had been in airplane mode since they got back from, where the hell did they go? Aruba? I feel like that's not right. They went on a vacation where she screamed at his friend, who was the girlfriend of his best friend who killed himself, and Karen Reed freaked out on her. Anyway, Kevin says that he makes an excuse, and Kevin, I love you. I'm not mad at you. I'm just curious as to why. And I'm not mad at you is a total slang way of just saying, like, I'm not mad at that. I just don't understand it, kind of thing. I don't understand that, because if her phone was still in airplane mode from that vacation, they had been back for, what, a month? If your phone is in airplane mode, you can't make phone calls. You cannot receive or send text messages. You literally don't have functioning anything on that phone. Like, you could play a game probably that doesn't require the internet, but you can't make calls, you can't receive calls, you can't listen to your voicemail, you can't use the internet, you can't send or receive text messages. So I don't buy that her phone was in airplane mode for that entire time that they'd been back from vacation. So that's something that I want somebody to help me figure out what the hell. And Kevin, if you hear this, please answer that for me, because that cannot be true. I mean, she obviously could not live a professional life and never call people. She was calling John. She was texting John. So clearly her phone was not in airplane mode, because she had been calling and texting him all day before she went and met him at the bar. They'd been fighting, as we saw in all the text messages. So, and her 50 freaking phone calls to him. So I don't buy that. So there should be GPS data on that. They should be able to get GPS data out of the Lexus, hope to God. So anyway, ARCA personally, I believe it's the premier company. So anybody that thinks that ARCA is going to testify and save Karen's ass, if they do testify, they are going to have all of the evidence. And if they get up on the stand and go along with this conspiracy again and try to help the defense, they're going to ruin their reputation. And I don't know that a company like ARCA is going to allow their professionals to ruin the company's reputation, no matter how much political power is trying to make them do that. I can't see that happening. So I think that either they're not going to testify again, or if they are going to, then they're going to have some schmo up there that doesn't care about his own integrity and could ruin the reputation of ARCA. I just can't see that happening again. The only way they got away with that was because of the federal investigation. The federal investigation is over. It's been over. So, I'm just trying to read through the chat. Yeah, Trooper Paul did fine. I really think that Jackson is a fucking, I mean, I don't think it. He is a bully. That is a fact. He is an adult bully, and he is an asshole. And he literally, I mean, if I was on that jury and knew nothing about this case, which obviously I shouldn't if I'm sitting on the jury, very little, didn't have any feelings about it one way or the other, and I'm watching the defense team attack every single person that gets up on that stand that's not John O'Keefe's family. They're attacking 80 witnesses. I'm pissed. Like, I am not liking that attorney, and his credibility with me is shot because he is such a dick to people. And I could clearly see that poor Trooper Paul, like, he obviously is a very intelligent person, and he just got flustered because Alan Jackson was such a dick. So he pirouetted through the air and spun around and did 6 turns and threw 30 feet. No, he went roughly 10 feet. And if you listen to what he's saying, your replies back to him are not fact. You're trying to gaslight, you're trying to twist his words, and he's getting flustered because you're saying shit that's not true. And he's like, I don't understand what the hell you're doing, except I know you're a slimy defense attorney, and I can't fucking handle your bullying anymore. And so he kind of lashed out and just got flustered, and I felt so bad for him. But yeah, I don't even think Karen even really has a mask. I mean, she has a mask in the sense that she smiles and she's polite to her fans, but she's not polite to anybody that asks her any type of intellectual question that won't let her get away with gaslighting. She just is rude, and she's not good at pretending to be human. Like, she doesn't understand. A lot of psychopaths, like, that are successful at being psychopaths and fooling humanity, they literally study their family and friends and people around them, and they are able to mimic human behaviors and emotions when it is in their best interest, and that they're, with somebody that they need to feel like they're human around. So they can display that, but it's all an act. It's like they're literally acting. Why did no one hear it? Because it was nighttime. They were partying, drinking, had music playing, and I believe it was fairly windy outside. And I know that in an area with climate, such as the Massachusetts, that blizzard, they had their door closed, and I am familiar with that kind of weather, and doors that are on people's front doors and such in homes in areas that suffer from snow attacks, they're very thick, and they tend to be very soundproof as a result of the way that they're made, and especially in homes that are of high quality, because you're gonna have high quality doors. So they're in the house, they're all chatting, they're drunk, they've been drinking, their doors and windows are closed, the wind is blowing, music playing, having conversations, yes, periodically looking outside. It was pitch black. There are no lights in that area. Okay, that is a fact. And if you don't have to believe me, but you need to do your own research if you don't believe me, because it is a fact. There is no light source, no street lights, nothing. Okay, so the only kind of light that they would have would be the vehicles when Karen pulled up and Nagel and his buddy pulled up. That's the only lights that would be out there. So, yeah, people are looking out periodically, waiting for their friend to come in. Now, I've heard Melanie Little attack them for this, too, and say, what kind of human being And Rita, I think there's so many people that have attacked them. Like, if you're waiting for your friends to get there, you're going to go outside and meet them. No, you're not, because you know that it's boyfriend and girlfriend. You know that their relationship is rocky. You assume that, like, if they don't come in, that they left and they're adults, and you don't question that. You probably are like, okay, well, either they got in a fight, there was a health issue, whatever the case might be. Now, me, if it were my friend, I would have texted, and I do believe that Jen and maybe others did continue to text him and just realized that he wasn't going to answer, so probably assumed that him and Karen got in a fight and went back and, like, were fighting and they weren't going to get any answers, okay? Friends, adult friends like that, when you invite people to your house after bar and you're adults with adult families, you don't babysit your adult friends. If you're expecting them, you're in communication with them just as they were, and you see them pull up, so you're periodically checking to see when they're coming in, and then you see that they're not there anymore. I mean, the normal human thing is that you assume they got in a fight, or there was a health issue, or they had to leave for some reason. You're not there to babysit. You're not going to go out and check on them unless you're, like, super best friends and you're super close enough that if they are in a fight, you're close enough that it doesn't matter if you go interrupt that kind of thing. I mean, I have friends that's totally, I could see that happening, because I do go greet my friends. But I also, like, if I'm not super close to somebody, I'm not babysitting them. If I see them pull up and then I no longer see their vehicle there, I will, try to get a hold of them, make sure that they're okay, what happened kind of thing. But if I don't get a response, I mean, I'm not going to stalk them. I'm going to get a hold of them the next day, which is unfortunate. That's my idea of how people would respond. And again, the whole noise factor, again, if you live in an area with that kind of climate, again, solid doors, wind, music playing, communication, drinking, okay, I mean, you're not going to hear it. It is my personal belief that she is a danger, period. I don't care if she is, like, I don't mean that in the way that she is going to, do some crazy, tragic mass murder or some kind of shit like that. Like, she is just dangerous. The fact that these people are continuing to be terrorized, that's dangerous. She is negatively affecting good humans' lives for 3 years we're on, and it's still happening. And that would stop if all of these, especially if Karen Reed and Turtle Boy's bail was revoked, as it should be. They've both violated their freaking bail agreement. I don't know why they're not in jail. Should be revoked. I'm super disappointed in the judicial system there. It's really, I believe that they're being protected. There's no other reason that they wouldn't be in jail. So yeah, she's just a danger, and Turtle Boy is a danger. It's not speculating. She has proven that every day. She is responsible for the terror that is the O'Keefe family's lives, the Proctor's lives, the Albert's lives, the McCabe's lives. She is responsible for that. She has incited this hatred. If you live in that area, I would be very concerned about possible riots, about possible, riot behavior such as looting and fires and vehicles being completely, bats breaking windows, and just awful, awful behavior. That area is close to that. Those people are unhinged, and it is concerning. They are dangerous. because the evidence points so much in the conspiracy's direction, Corn Pope, no, it doesn't. If you have to do so much mental gymnastics to be able to make things fit, and then something gets disproven, like inexplicably rock solid evidence disproven in the court of law, which a lot of this shit was, pretty much all of it was in trial number 1, and then you just pretend like it didn't happen, like it wasn't disproven, like 227 wasn't completely destroyed, then you're just choosing to be ignorant. You're choosing to believe in the conspiracy. And you are, as shit gets disproven, you're then bringing up a different talking point, and you're pretending like that didn't happen. You want to talk about how 227 has been disproven? You want to talk about how the whole dog bites did not happen? You want to talk about where John's blood is? You want to talk about why his shoe was buried under the snow? You want to talk about how actual evidence was buried under the snow? You want to talk about how his body temperature was 80 degrees? I mean, all of this shit has been disproven, and it has been explained. You tell them, random person, Galactics edits. No, they are going to... Corn Pope, I hope you can see reality when the second trial happens, because it is very clear cut. Point A to Z. It is a psychopath who is an abuser, and Hank Brennan is reaching out and trying to get... There are, I think, police reports from the little chatter that I've heard. I don't know this to be fact, but I think there are police reports of her in past relationships. I have definitely heard that she started an ex of hers vehicle on fire. So if that's true and that's in a police report, that's a pattern of behavior. And that is proof that she is dangerous. Who the fuck sets their ex's car on fire because they're pissed? Who the fuck does that shit? You think that's not a dangerous mind? So, I don't believe in the Constitution. I don't know why you would say that. And also, she has been proven guilty, Lady Di, too. People that want to believe that she wasn't either will not commit to doing the research to find the truth. Because I can understand how, if you're only going to look at the trial and watch it once and not seek any further truth, I can see how that could be difficult. But if you're actually seeking the truth and you've researched why certain things happened, and you researched how the testimony came out and what the testimony means, and actually read the court documents, you will know that they proved her guilty. She is proven guilty. Notice I'm not saying allegedly, because she can't sue me, because truth is the defense against defamation. She has been proven guilty. The court of law, the jury was hung, meaning she hasn't been convicted in a court of law, but she has been proven guilty. That is a fact. The 3,000 pages of TUI documents supported her theory. Excuse me? What information came out of the TUI documents? Do you want to know, Corn Pope? Proctor's text messages. That is it. That is not a conspiracy, and that is not corruption. That is a police officer with an indiscretion, not being professional, admittedly, taking responsibility for that, and that's it. They found no evidence of a conspiracy. They found no evidence of corruption. The 3,000 pages tell me what they used in the court of law to prove that there was some kind of corruption or conspiracy, and what they used, what the defense used. What did they use? Proctor's text. That's it. Please tell me what else was in those 3,000 pages that they used. It doesn't, Lady Di too. Okay, so I think you're talking about freedom of speech. Okay, these people are taking criminal actions. You have freedom of speech up until the point of it becoming criminal. When you, as a murder defendant and a murder defendant's attorneys and somebody who purports to be well, let's just call him what he is, a blogger with zero humanity, when those people team up and conspire to get a lot of YouTube creators and social media and actual mainstream media to push out conspiracy theories, that is criminal behavior. When you call people murderers with zero evidence, that's not criminal. But when you have a protective order against you on that person and you continue to harass and call and defame them, that's definitely civilly liable. But where the criminal behavior comes in is the actual communication between said blogger and defendant and defense attorneys conspiring to push out false lies. That is criminal. That is witness intimidation. That is conspiracy to commit witness intimidation. And as far as the attorneys go, they are also guilty of that because they participated in it. And again, they're committing fraud on the court every time that they come in and present evidence that they have fed to Turtle Boy. That's illegal. That is illegal. And as far as Karen, again, even just her drinking, that is against her bond. That is part of her bail requirement, is that she not drink alcohol. His arm bites do not look like dog bites. I did an episode completely annihilating when Melanie Little had American Standard, I think is the canine trainer. She had him on and she showed him Turtle Boy's doctored photograph of John O'Keefe's arm, and he made such a determination by looking at one photograph that was photoshopped. I completely threw him under the bus. Please listen to that episode if you don't believe me. If there was actually dog bites, do you honestly think that Alan Jackson and Yanetti would not bring up DNA? They would not bring up teeth. They have teeth impressions of Chloe, so why wouldn't they enter that into evidence? And why wouldn't they have dog DNA to enter into evidence? There is absolutely no evidence of a dog. And in fact, if you have any knowledge of dogs, you know that German Shepherd teeth are huge. Their canine teeth, if they're going to bite you, you are going to have holes in your arm. That freaking expert, in air quotes, tried to make it seem like those tiny, I mean, you almost need a magnifying glass to see the little holes or the little punctures that she was pointing at, or the scratch that she was pointing at, to see it. That's not dog bites, okay? And if they were going to if they actually believed that, there would have been a lot more evidence to back that up. They had no evidence other than some weirdo person that, granted, she has a lot of professional experience in various things. She is no expert in dogs, okay, which you'll probably find out soon when Hank Brennan does his Rule 17 on her and questions her and discredits her completely. So I would really like you to come back and leave me a comment as this stuff progresses and as you start to see that everything that I say is true. Let me know that, oh, okay, so I hear ya, you're right. Yeah, I don't know about the cameras. I have no idea what happened with the Ring cameras. I know that it was said that there was a Ring camera. Again, it's pitch black out there. I have no idea how far, where that Ring camera, if anything happened, if it would have been able to pick it up. If I have no idea. I don't know. That wasn't brought out in testimony as far as I remember, because there wasn't any. So I have no idea. I don't have a theory. I'm pretty sure I told you my theory. They did test his clothing, Lady Di, too. If a dog bites you, okay, John O'Keefe's sweatshirt had holes in it, which Alan Jackson and Yanetti were trying to say were from dog teeth biting through his sweatshirt, and then the marks on his arm were left by a dog. If a dog is going to bite through clothing, there will be dog DNA on said clothing. They tested for it. There was none. If there was any dog DNA present, that would have got brought out in court. There wasn't. In fact, the actual opposite was brought out in court when Lally questioned and said, "Do you know that there was no dog DNA?" M.W. Phelps, please listen to his podcast. He is telling the truth. Look at M. Williams Phelps's professional history and what he does in his life. He doesn't misreport. He has a reputation that he cares about, and his biggest goal with everything that he does is to be the voice for the victims. And if he felt like there was any corruption, you bet your ass he would have fucking been saying that, because that's juicy. So you really need to look at the facts. And again, they know, the defense team knows exactly where Chloe is. Both the police and the defense know where Chloe is. She is in Vermont, and Julie Albert on the stand, or not Julie, I keep getting them mixed up. Yeah, Julie Albert on the stand literally said, if you want Chloe, if you need Chloe for any reason, I have offered to bring her to you. Like, she is available. She literally said, not verbatim, but something to that effect on the stand. M. William Phelps reports that the cops and the defense team and Karen and Turtle Boy know that Chloe is alive and well, and they know where she is, okay? I don't know if he is going to report that they actually have teeth impressions. I'm pretty sure that came out in a pretrial motion, that they actually have her teeth impressions, and also her DNA, I believe, that could be tested against if need be, but don't hold me to that. I don't know for sure, but she's available if they need to get that stuff. Yeah, I can't believe Lucky. Honest to God, and Corin Pope, obviously you believe Karen, which is unfortunate, and I hope you get help, but I honestly believe that Karen was going to blame Lucky. I believe that she was going to throw him under the bus. So I feel really bad because he is being so used and manipulated. And Yanetti, again, the shit that he pulled with taking Lucky to Proctor's sister's school. She works as a teacher. And Yanetti goes in the parking lot of the school that she teaches because Lucky wanted to. That's bullshit. And he is trying to intimidate Proctor's sister, in turn intimidating Proctor. That's witness intimidation. Why the fuck isn't he charged with that? Yeah, also, yeah, if you want to see Boundless Millennial, and I actually kind of reposted it, it's definitely not even near the quality of Boundless Millennial. If you want a good view, go to Boundless Millennial. He lines up the clear plastic right onto the arm of John O'Keefe's injuries, his injuries on his arm. It's perfect. It's in one of his openings. I think I put it on a short on my channel. Again, it's not the best quality, but you can see it, okay? So it's obviously a short, I think. So you can find it. So, yeah, if you're looking at the whole, I don't know how you can not see it, because really the FKR movement is about one thing. Like, this looks fishy. And then if we say, well, here's the reason why this happened, then they just move on to the next thing and pretend like the next thing wasn't disproven. And then we say, well, that's why this happened. And then they just bring up the next. So, as far as I can see, they literally will not look at the whole. Because what a defense team does, if they don't have the facts, is that they poke holes in single items, which, you know, they did a lot of that, and they attack the investigation, which, again, it was a very simple, clear line to Karen Reed. All of the evidence very quickly and easily pointed to Karen Reed. So they didn't have any fucking reason. I don't know who else they would question. She dropped him off. He was found where she dropped him off. Her vehicle has damage to it. Her car data shows that she flew in reverse and went 60 feet and 24 miles per hour after she was driving forward, and then threw it in reverse and had a pedestrian hit data. What represents a pedestrian hit on her car data. I mean, I don't know who else you would even think. I mean, it goes straight to her. I mean, she admitted they were fighting. Testimony dictates that they were fighting. Testimony from John's children and others dictate that, well, I think actually just his children. I call them his children. He was raising them as his own. Testimony from them was that John had told Karen that he thought the relationship had ran its course, he was sick of fighting, and he asked her to leave his house. She refused. She would not leave. She did not let him leave her. No DNA on John's... There was, like... I think that there were 3 other male DNA, like partial male DNA or something on John's clothes. But again, I mean, he was wearing clothes. He had went to the bar. He'd been drinking all day. He'd been in contact with a lot of people. I mean... I don't know. I think there was talk of DNA, but none of it was actually discussed really in the trial. So obviously it was not important. Because you know Alan Jackson and Yanetti are going... If there's something to prove, and they had actual evidence to prove any theory, they would have done it. So, it looks like Corn Pope and Lady Di too. It sounds like you are open-minded to hearing the facts. So again, I'm gonna watch a couple other creators. I suggest that you go watch Masshole Mafia Official and Yellow Cottage Tales episodes from tonight, and then also, you know, feel free to reach out with questions. I'm always happy to answer questions. So if you legit have actual questions that you want answers to, I'm happy to answer them for you. And Corn Pope and Lady Di, please look through my shorts. It's a short that I recorded off the TV. I think it was one of my very first shorts. I did it like this, like it's not high quality. I'm recording on my phone on the TV. But the creator is called Boundless Millennial, and it literally lines up the clear plastic taillight to the injuries on John's arm. So if you just want to go to that directly, it's on my shorts, and it's from Boundless Millennial. And if you can't find it, you can message me and I'll tell you exactly where to find it. Because I mean, there isn't really any way to dispute that. So I think I'm still trying to read through comments. I don't know if anybody's still here. Looks like there's a couple people. But hopefully I answered most of your questions. If I didn't, please reach out. I'm happy to answer. And please watch, especially Masshole Mafia and and Yellow Cottage Tales. I don't know what they've got, but they've got some tea, I think. And they, you know, they can't tell us everything. So if they're telling us something, there's probably more. Because they can't tell us things that can't come out to the public yet. And J. Ray, I'm happy to let you know that if you want to see proof, please FOIA Aiden Carney's court records. That's where you're going to see proof. Okay, I am never going to be able to convince you that these people in power committed crimes, are still committing crimes, are getting away with committing crimes. Doesn't seem like anybody's holding them accountable. It's very fucking obvious to a lot of us. It's like, are we in a different dimension? What the hell is going on? It's really obvious, and the only way you're gonna know is if you read the court documents, unless you want to wait for Turtle Boy's trial, which he is going to continue to push off and continue to push off and continue to push off, because he will go to prison. If Josh Levy isn't protecting him somehow, and if Josh Levy isn't willing to throw himself in the fire to save him, because there are enough eyes on this that Turtle Boy cannot walk. Like, he will be held accountable, and he will go to prison. He is one that I feel like could potentially take his own life if he actually is going to go to prison. So I would be very fearful, because he will spend a lot of time in prison, and he will not do well in prison. He will get the shit kicked out of him in prison. Like, he may get killed in prison if he continues to act the way he acts in a civil society in prison. But, you know, he has threatened suicide many times in the past. I don't know if he would ever do it. Most psychopaths don't, because they think so highly of themselves. They're more likely to commit crime against other people. So, but it's always a concern. I still have a very, very tiny bit of compassion, and it's just because I'm a human and I am an empath. I am concerned for Turtle Boy and Karen Reed's mental health when they get convicted, because they both will be convicted. I am very confident in that, because I know the facts of the case, and I know that based on what Hank Brennan is doing and his filings and the things that are being shown to us through motions to the court, I mean, he is getting everything that he can. There is no way that people are going to be able to say that she did not commit this crime. And in my opinion, I think he's going to be able to prove second degree, because it is very obviously second degree. There's no way that she did that and did not know that she did that. There's just no way. Again, go throw your car in reverse and go 24 miles an hour for 60-some feet and put a garbage can 60 feet behind you and run into that garbage can, and make sure that you do it in a vehicle that has bells and whistles that are going to go off, and also in a vehicle that has anti-lock brakes. Do that experiment and tell me if you think that could be done by accident. There's no fucking way that she could do that by accident. There's no way that any human being could do that by accident, much less like, you can't. Most people don't ever do that in their life on purpose. What godly reason would any person have to be driving forward and then suddenly throw it in reverse for 60 feet, bells and whistles going off, obviously hit something, continue to not push the brake? She did not push the brakes. She maybe eventually did if her anti-lock brakes didn't completely stop her. And then she did a 3-point turn, I believe, based on her text messages to Aiden. I don't know. Hopefully we'll be able to learn that from the car data. And probably saw him lying there based on what she said in that nightline. I mean, she said he did not look incapacitated. Something to that effect. That's not verbatim, but it's very close to what she said. I'm sorry, who the hell says that about anybody that isn't lying on the ground that they see? Would you ever say that my husband or my boyfriend or my girlfriend didn't look incapacitated when I dropped him off at a party? I mean, that wouldn't come out of your mouth if you weren't looking at him after he was struck. I don't understand that. That is basically a confession. I mean, listen to that again. Put yourself in those shoes. Ask yourself, have I ever dropped off my significant other at a house? And would I ever say in a interview when somebody's asking you about what happened that he didn't look incapacitated? There was no prompting of, like, did you see him lying in the snow? Did you know that you hit him? I don't even know what in the hell preceded that, where she proceeded that response. But that's a confession. He didn't look incapacitated. That's a confession. You don't say that for any other reason than if you see somebody that is injured or lying on the ground or something. It's beyond my realm how people don't understand that. But I didn't think he looked mortally wounded. There you go, J. Ray. Proof about Karen setting her boyfriend's car on fire. Yeah, I don't know. That's a rumor. I fucking believe it, though. And Hank Brennan has filed motions to get police reports, and I don't know if it says it in the documentation or if it's just the word on the street that it has to do with ex relationships. But where are her ex? I mean, I have exes that I have, like, even friendships with some of them. I have two that were, not good men that I dated that I don't stay in contact with, but I don't have, like, hostility toward any of them. I actually had an ex-boyfriend come and testify for me in a court case that I had to take to jury trial to prevent a miscarriage of justice on my own self. And my ex-boyfriend came and testified on my character, okay? He was my ex-boyfriend, and he came, and he actually threw himself under the bus because they asked him, he smoked pot, and at that time it was illegal, and they were asking questions, and he admitted that on the stand because he was there to be honest, and that, I'm sure, sucked for him, but he did it. So where are her actual in real life friends, her in real life boyfriends? Why is nobody coming out of the woodwork saying, like, that actually know her? I'm going to call them freaks, because literally they spend all of their time, money, and energy defending a woman that they don't know. They have committed their life mission to prove this woman innocent when everything is against the fact that she is innocent. I don't understand it. I don't see a single person other than her family. In fact, I don't even think she has a relationship with her sister. That's the rumor. I don't know if that's true either. Just making that clear. I don't know that to be a fact, but I didn't see her sister in court ever. But I don't know if she factually has a sister. That could just be a rumor. But the people that I get my information from, they're credible. Kevin's credible. And I don't know if you follow Kate Peters. She takes a lot of bullets. But that woman is intelligent. She reads court documents. She knows the law. She I mean, she breaks it down for you. So if you need to know the facts of the case for Karen Reed, I would highly suggest you go to Mass Mafia Official and Twisted Tragedies YouTube pages and go to their content from like a year ago and listen to them. Twisted Tragedies was on FKR. She rallied people up when Turtle Boy was on the run and got arrested. She is committed to her beliefs, and she is a warrior. So is Kate Peter, but Kate Peter was never fooled because she knows Turtle Boy and she knows his tactics. And she did not steal from Turtle Boy like Turtle Boy likes to say. She outed him to the people that he was charging like ridiculous amounts of money to advertise on his blog, when she said, well, I can do that for like, you know, a 100th of the costs of that on my blog, because Turtle Boy told her that she should start her own blog and get ad revenue as well from that. And Kate was like, okay, cool. She didn't know the scam that he was pulling on the people that were paying him to advertise. So when he quoted, or when she quoted the people that wanted to put advertisements on her page as well, they were like, holy shit, Turtle Boy is charging me this much. She's like, oh my God. This is how she started realizing that Turtle Boy was a disgusting human being, because she was, and she worked for him. There was never any like intimate relationship, nothing like that between them. She literally worked for them. He liked her writing style. She is highly intelligent and writes well. She's very well spoken, and yes, she speaks fast. I don't know why they put her down for that. That's not a sign of anything other than intelligence and being able to like spit facts, you know, super fast, because she knows the facts in the case so well that she can just spit the facts, and they rip on her for that. Like, Turtle Boy accuses her, he said he fired her because he stole from her, when what he actually did, or what she actually did, was quote people realistic prices for advertisements, and therefore Turtle Boy's income revenue from the ads decreased like 1,000% because he was so overcharging them, which she didn't know, because, you know, he didn't tell her that he was a frickin' crook, but he told her to get ads for her own blog and da-da-da-da, and so by doing that, he outed himself. And then, you know, Kate Peters started realizing what was going on. He did not fire her, and she did not steal from him. He refers to that as stealing from him because his revenue decreased exponentially because she outed him to the people that were trying to advertise, who thought that he was a credible person who had humanity in his heart. Maybe her exes are in Ireland. What's in Ireland? I don't know. But, okay, awesome, J. Ray, that you finally believe the dog bites. End ARCA report. Yeah, I mean, all I can say is that it'll be interesting to see if ARCA... I'm super curious to see if ARCA testifies again. Because they literally cannot... I don't think that they will be able, again, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know, but from what I understand of the law, is that if you are going to testify for the defense, you have to have all of the evidence. Because ARCA was not hired by the defense, they did not have to take evidence from the Commonwealth. And Lally tried to reach out to them and tried to give them evidence, all of the evidence. But because the defense did not hire them, they were not bound, nor were they directed to look at all of the evidence. Josh Levy decided what evidence they should look at, and they were told not to research outside of what he gave them. And he didn't give them a lot. Listen to Lally's questioning again when he questions them, and how much they weren't given. Okay, so they are, as far as I understand the law, because if they were going to testify again, and because there's no longer federal involvement, and there's no longer a way for Josh Levy to pull that shit again, and there's no way to have a third party come in and do anything, they will not be able to testify without all of the evidence. And if they have all of the evidence and they do their job of accident reconstruction, they will not be able to lie and fool people. I mean, I can't imagine ARCA would allow that, because that's a very, like, in my mind, one of the top companies to do that. I don't think that they would be literally putting their reputation on the line, because if they're going to sell out for such an obvious, because Hank Brennan is bringing in his own ARCA. I don't know that it's ARCA, but they've got an ARCA-like person, and I have every belief in the world that they are going to be able to have a very clear-cut theory, and the person that testifies through their new expert will be able to prove beyond any doubt, absolute any doubt, that this is what happened. For the most part. Again, you're not going to be able to know everything unless you were a fly on the wall or the murder literally took place on camera, which, if that had happened, we would have it by now, unless we are lucky enough to get a picture from Karen Reed's vehicle when she made contact with John. That would be the only chance that you have of any kind of photographic proof. Most murders are not caught on camera. They are more and more these days because we're starting to get more and more surveillance. But most of the time in a murder trial, if somebody's going to take it to trial, there's not video evidence. Because if they have video evidence, they're going to try to make a plea, because they're never going to win at trial because it's literally on camera. So you're going to be able to prove to a scientific certainty of what happened. And if ARCA is going to get on the stand and try to say something that doesn't make sense, the facts are the facts. The data is the data. And so if ARCA gets on the stand and tries to make a theory, honestly, I don't believe that they're going to do it. I don't believe that they're going to have ARCA. They're going to have to find some other POS that doesn't give a shit about integrity, and that is a professional gaslighter, and that is going to do their best to try to cause reasonable doubt. That's the best chance that they're going to have. I have every confidence in that. So I don't know, unless we hear from Hank Brennan through a motion, or from the defense through a motion, of if we get a witness list or something. I don't know how we're going to know who their experts are, unless Hank Brennan does a Rule 17 on more of them. I mean, if they get some shady vehicle expert, then Hank Brennan may do a Rule 17 on them as well. But they clearly haven't hired one yet, because Hank Brennan probably would have done that the same time they do the dog expert. So we may find out, we may get a taste of it before, if they actually get a company to do it, and Hank Brennan does a Rule 17 and Canoni approves it or whatever. Like, we may get a glimpse of it. But most defendants aren't going to show their hand, and especially now that she hired another high-priced attorney, J. Ray. If she was innocent, do you think that it would take, show me anything, show me any kind of theory that the defense has, like a fluid theory, where I can tell you a fluid theory of exactly what I've said multiple times. What is a fluid theory from the side of the defense? If people want to say that she's factually innocent, they need to have some theory that makes sense. They don't. They have little pieces of little things that don't make sense, and they don't take the time, and they plead ignorance because they know, a lot of them know the truth and know that it's bullshit. So they're going to just pretend like they're ignorant, and pretend like they don't know that was disproven, or pretend like they didn't get an explanation as to why that looks fishy. And they just, live in their gaslit echo chambers. So, I don't I don't understand how people can say that, which is why I feel like they are testing the waters to see if they're going to continue with the conspiracy, because they know that is such bullshit, and they know Hank Brennan isn't going to like entertain that shit, and he's going to shut that down, and they're not going to get away with it, and it's not going to be believable at all if they try that shit with Hank Brennan. So I honestly believe, and I've believed this pretty much since the first trial was over, I don't know how they can go in there with a conspiracy theory again, unless they have something really well thought out that they can actually put something together, which I don't know how that's possible, but who knows. I think we'd be seeing more of that experimentation in the world of YouTubers, because that's how they test their theories, and that's how they've gotten to the point where she can answer most questions that are, that she can make sense of, because she's had 3 years to test out theories and see what the public buys. I'm not seeing a lot of new theories that they're testing, except JFK and his stupid video. Like, that's great, JFK, but you're not, like, that's all speculation. That is not evidence that you could hang your hat on. It's not even close to enough where the proof that Hank Brennan has on his side to even cause reasonable doubt. There's people talking in a bar. It might look like they're throwing their hands up. Maybe they're talking and fucking around with each other. Boys being boys. I'm a tomboy. Like, I give my buddies shit. They give me shit. That's how we show we love each other, kind of thing. That's men. John O'Keefe is not the type of guy, from what I know through people that know him, is not the type of guy that's gonna get in a fucking fist fight over a chick. He wanted to get rid of Karen. If Higgins wanted her, he would have given him to her freely, and he probably would have said, please be careful though, because she is not a pleasant person to be around. It's no skin off my balls if you want to be with her, but I wouldn't recommend it. That's what I think he would have said. There might have been a part of him that was like, that sucks. And that sucks that she's gonna date somebody I see, but I don't think that he would have given a shit. And he's certainly, from the people that I know that know him, or knew him, and his buddies and the people that he hung out with, that's just not something he would do. He's not gonna get in a fucking fight over a chick. He has 2 kids. Besides the fact that he's an adult man with an adult brain, and he's not an adrenaline, testosterone teenage boy. Like, and then the children just really put a stop to that. He is not going to take any kind of... He didn't like Karen's influence on them. Much less he's going to get in a serious fight over trying to keep her. Like, fuck that. It's not happening. That's the only theory that I see. And I think that they're seriously testing, because I am seeing people like Melanie Little and Betterow starting to say things like, people forget it is not on the defense to prove innocent. It is the job of the Commonwealth to prove guilt, and it has to be beyond reasonable doubt. And they keep saying that there's so much doubt. And again, yeah, if you want to look at one thing individually and say that looks weird, okay, that looks weird, but then ask the question in court. If it's not brought up in court, if the defense doesn't bring it up as being a weird thing, then the jury doesn't think that that's a weird thing. And if the defense brings up a thing that's a weird thing, then the prosecutor is going to, cross-examine and explain why that looks weird. And so therefore, it's not a doubt anymore. It no longer looks weird. It might be a little bit unexplained. It might be a little bit unorthodox, but there's an explanation, and a reasonable one. Therefore, there is not reasonable doubt on these individual little things. But once again, if you don't have facts on your side and you're a lawyer, then that is what you do. You try to poke holes, and you try to completely, destroy the investigation. Which, again, it really was a good investigation. And if they want to say that a doubt is reasonable, that means that it really legitimately has to be reasonable. It can't be fairy tale land. Like, okay, well, yeah, they were trying to conserve blood. It was a blizzard. It was snow. The CERT team, they didn't know when the CERT team was going to get there. They were trying to preserve evidence, so they collected it in sterile cups from a police, I think the captain or sergeant's, somebody's freaking house that were sterile. And yeah, that might look weird, but here's why we did it. We didn't want to lose the evidence, you know, blah, blah, blah. Here's why we didn't find all the taillights. And yeah, it probably wasn't a good idea that we just drove by and waited for the snow to melt. We probably should have, you know, got out there and dug or something. I mean, you're not going to use shovels in a situation like that. You're not going to. Actually, a leaf blower is brilliant, actually, because you don't want to use a shovel because you're talking about plastic. And if you're digging through snow and a shovel hits a piece of plastic, especially a frozen piece of plastic, then the shovel is going to break it, which is going to, you know, alter evidence. So you don't want to do that. So honestly, I feel like, and I'm not a detective, but trust me, I think I could be, and I think my husband would say the same. I think I'd make a damn good detective, but I would be completely too invested, and I would be one of those detectives that would destroy my family life because I would be so addicted to my job because I would be so invested. But yeah, so I mean, I feel like not only was it brilliant, but I actually feel like it was the best thing to do, because how else are you going to do it? You need to use, unless they could have got a heat blower. That would have been the better thing, some kind of like blow dryer with heat to melt the snow. But again, I mean, there was a lot of snow accumulated because it had been plowed in the snowbank. I mean, you can see it on the car cam of Seraph when he pulls up. Like, there's a bank of snow. I think Kevin says that it was estimated like 3 feet deep, and that was snow that was pushed up from the snowplow, and that's where a lot of the taillight pieces were. So, I mean, do you really expect them to go sit there and like dig through the snow by hand for 3 feet in a huge area? I don't know. Like, they tried to put up tape. There's actually evidence of that on video too, from one of the car cams or body cams or something, and it just kept blowing down because the wind was too high. So, like, there's explanations to these things that look weird, but honestly, like, if you ask the question, if the defense doesn't bring it up, then it's literally a non-issue, and the jury cannot think on their own, well, that's weird, because if the defense didn't bring it up, that means that they didn't think it was a weird thing enough to bring it up, or they knew it looked weird, but they knew that the Commonwealth would come back and explain it very well as to why it looked weird, and here's the explanation, and it would just make them look even worse than if they just didn't bring it up. So, you know, they didn't bring up a lot of shit. They didn't question Carrie Roberts. She was a very important witness. They didn't question. They completely degrade the fact that the children wanted to testify and put blame on the family for that, which is disgusting. They wanted to testify. At least the female was a teenager. I don't know if her younger brother was a teenager yet, but they wanted the niece wanted to testify. Think about how you were as a teenager. I would want to testify. I guess I can't speak for you, but I certainly would want to. Those children, the brother decided that he wanted to because the sister wanted to, is what I read that was reported or heard from a credible source. I don't remember which. But that, I mean, again, Jen McCabe's a villain, and Jen McCabe got in their ears, and Jen McCabe convinced them to go test. I mean, like, seriously, is that realistic? It also wasn't brought up in court. That's just shit on YouTube. So if it was actually something that they wanted to bring up, they would have brought it up in court. They didn't. So YouTube shouldn't even be talking about that shit. It's not relevant. Oh, she used to live in Ireland? Really? When and for how long? The defense wasn't allowed to talk to them before they No, they weren't, but they had a report. Both the Commonwealth and the defense were given the written report by ARCA, which both Alan Jackson and Lally read portions of in open court during the trial. And so, no, they weren't able to be prepped by Jackson and Yanetti. But I guarantee you that if Josh Levy did not give them if he did not give them actual direct instruction, they definitely knew that because Josh Levy brought the feds in and Josh Levy gave them evidence and Josh Levy told them not to look into anything else. I mean, they knew exactly what they were there to do. They knew that they were there. I mean, listen to their testimony again. Please listen to my ARCA thing if you haven't. I mean, there is no way that you can't see that bias if you're open-minded. I just don't see it. They're so biased. Nobody that's a professional witness gets defensive on the stand when they are asked questions. Dr. Wolf was defensive, and the other guy was a little bit too, but Dr. Wolf was obviously defensive and obviously biased. Like, I know the truth, and I really honestly, like, I know the truth. I don't have to say alleged. I'm an intellectual person, and I can see the facts, and she's very guilty, but, like, I don't know how you can't see that they were biased. But with that said, so they had reports, so they knew what they did and how they came to those conclusions. And that's why Lally asked both of them, said, so, your report says that if you are given more evidence, then it says right in your report here that your opinions are subject to new, theories or new ideas or whatever. And Dr. Wolf, literally, actually both of them, but again, Dr. Wolf was the most obvious defensive one, said, it doesn't matter. It wouldn't change it. Nothing. I mean, he literally said that nothing would change it. Nothing. I think both of them said that, though. Like, these were the conclusions. And yes, it says that in the report, but no other evidence could possibly lead them to any other conclusions. I'm sorry, but any scientist worth anything would literally never say that. I mean, the scientists that tested the materials used words like, this was plastic-like material, or to a reasonable scientific certainty. That's how experts who are being truthful and honest testify. They would never say, it is not possible. I mean, you could have asked that medical examiner if he could have got those injuries from a horse trampling on him. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? No. So, I'm sorry. Find me another expert on any trial and tell me where to go to watch it, where there is any scientist that gets on the stand and says something to that effect as to further evidence absolutely could not possibly change my mind. It is that, I mean, they didn't even have a theory. I mean, they had a little bit of a theory. Their theory was that John threw a glass at Karen's car, I think, is what their theory was. But they didn't use any of their education. They didn't use, Dr. Wolf had light. He was like some kind of lighting. I don't know if he had a degree in it. I can't remember. But he had all of these qualifications. And then Lally was like, so you have this specialty in lighting. He's like, yep. And Lally's like, do you know that there's absolutely no street lights in that entire area and there's no lighting? Nope. I did not know that. And Lally is, the type of prosecutor that doesn't bring shit out. Like, those are points that needed to be more like an Alan Jackson effect, and I despise Alan Jackson, so I hate saying that, but it needs to be said over. So you do know now that there are no lights in that area, okay? And if you knew that, would that change anything? Do you think that that should have been taken into consideration? I mean, if he's going to say no to that, but yet he's a lighting expert, I'm sorry, that's an absolute oxymoron. You cannot say that shit like that would not affect your opinion. And both of those assholes did that. Like, that is not credible. And again, the jury are normal people that judge the credibility of the witness. If they deem that person's testimony to be credible, they then use their own life experience and common sense to determine how much weight to give that testimony, if they even decide that it's credible. Based on that letter that the extremely intelligent foreperson wrote, it doesn't seem to me that they believed any, that they didn't give that testimony any weight. And a lot of that came from the fact that they didn't understand this whole third party that was involved, which blew it for the defense, which, thank God. I really think John O'Keefe is like an angel, and he knows that his family won't rest until they get justice for him. I really don't think that he probably is like, move on, I'm fine, I'm good, like he would be fine with it. But he sees how much torture his family and friends are in. And so he is helping. I truly believe that. I know that that's crazy to a lot of people that think very analytically. I have a very analytic mind as well as creative. I'm very, very equal left and right brained, which is very unusual. Slightly more right brain dominant, slightly more creative, but I'm also very analytical, and I'm very spiritual. So I definitely 100% believe that, because a lot of things have worked. I really think that they are going to get her on second-degree murder. There isn't a chance in hell they would have gotten her on second-degree murder in that first trial. Not a chance in hell. The way that evidence was brought out, it was not succinct. And I do truly believe there were FKR people in that jury room. And I hope that we have a jury that's protected, and Turtle Boy is not allowed in that. He should be in fucking jail by trial, hopefully. And because if he is in that courtroom, there will never be a jury that's protected. He cannot be in there. And if Hank Brennan doesn't motion for that, I'm going to be very disappointed. Like I said, hopefully he'll be in jail. But given that, and hopefully they are able to weed out the FKR people. And hopefully if there are FKR people, the other people that are in there, hopefully they will hold the FKR people's feet to the fire. And if they're just not going to entertain that idea, they're going to sit there for months if they have to get this man's family justice. Because eventually somebody's going to break. And if you've got a 9-3 vote guilty, then you got to pressure those assholes. If you're saying, explain to me why you believe that she is innocent, and then you explain, or they say, she just is, or whatever, and then you explain to them, then you got to be a strong person and say, no, you don't get to sit here and be on the jury and say that you won't even discuss this with us. That shit cannot happen. And again, Alan Jackson grabbing Karen's titty the night before the jury came back. The rumor is they knew. They were celebrating. Okay? They went outside the courthouse steps and got there and were so happy. They wanted that mistrial. They made this victory speech about how they weren't going to prosecute and get away with it, and they ain't got no quit. I mean, they had zero issue with that being a hung jury. If people seriously don't see that behavior as completely, seeing that as a win, because they were scared to death. And again, Boundless Millennial has an awesome short on this. I think it's called, I can't remember, Karen's, crap. It's her walking out of court, after they got their second note and this jury was still hung. There were whisperings. Probably she was getting fed information from the FKR jurors somehow. And she knew. I mean, if they didn't come back with a not guilty, like everybody in FKR was so convinced they were going to do in the first hour, they knew that their best chance was a hung jury. They were not going to come back on day 3 acquitting her. There was no fucking way. And she knew that. And Ballas Millennial has a little short on that. It's on my channel too. I can't remember what he called it. But if you want to find it and you can't, ask me and I'll direct you to it. But yeah, she was fucking shaking in her boots. And she definitely, there's no doubt in my mind that there were FKR that snuck on there that were just being holdouts and were never there. The very credible rumor is that one of the FKR people literally said to the rest of the jury that there was no way that she was going to send Karen Reed to prison because she is a woman and she did not belong in prison, and there was no way that they were going to change her mind. So, you tell me if that sounds like it is not a lack of understanding the evidence. It is our deep-held beliefs. That is a deep-held belief when somebody is going to sit on a fucking jury and say that they're not going to send them to prison. It doesn't matter if they're guilty or not. They just don't believe in prison. I'm sorry. That person was not honest to get on a jury. No person that sits on a jury that has that feeling answered questions honestly. And then you have to wonder how and why she got on that jury. And it's not a very hard fucking answer. I mean, you can't be honest and end up on a jury and then say, I'm never sending her to prison. I don't care if I have video evidence of her hitting John. Like, I'm not sending her to prison, period. That should have been they should have fucking kicked her out the jury. I just can't even believe that. So, anyway, this went 3 hours and 41 minutes. I can't do a short video. Oh, good. I think that it's fabulous that you have this little kitten. Didn't you say you rescued this little kitten? That's so sweet. But yeah, I honestly think that they're debating on, I just don't think that they can do the conspiracy. The problem is all of her following is factually guilty following. So now are all of these people that have created all of these videos and have completely been disrespectful and egregious individual humans on all sorts of social media and protests and shit and rolling rallies, are they going to be honest with themselves when they don't go in with the conspiracy theory? Because I honestly believe that's where they're going. Like, all of the people that are lawyers on TV are saying they can't do a conspiracy again. They should just go not guilty. There was plenty of reasonable doubt. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm sorry, there's not reasonable doubt. And I don't think there's going to be any reasonable doubt when Hank gets done with this case. I think she's going to be begging for a plea bargain. And I hope to God they don't give her one, because she does not deserve mercy. She has given zero, like negative billions compassion or mercy to John O'Keefe, to his family, and to his loved ones. She does not deserve mercy. But that's my prediction. And then I'm just curious how her supporters, who are out there screaming factually innocent, are going to now switch and say things like, well, look, she doesn't have to prove that she's innocent. She just has to prove reasonable doubt, and that is a not guilty. Yeah, that's true. But when you have riled up this community and you have people believing that you're factually innocent, and then you have all the power and money and ability to get experts with all these high-powered attorneys, and you can't come up with an actual theory that is fluid and makes sense, then you can't do that. Like, if they had that, they would have done that in the first trial. That's why I don't understand how people are still saying factually innocent. It doesn't make sense to me. It's very obvious that she's not factually innocent. Could she have gotten a not guilty based on how the evidence came out in a non-fluid way the first time? Yes, it is definitely a possibility. But based on very credible sources, it was 9-3 guilty. And I've even heard 9-3 guilty on all top charges. But I have not heard that by my two best sources. So that might have not been true. Maybe they were going to do manslaughter. I honestly don't believe it. I don't know. But even if we believe the defense and that was 9-3, or it was manslaughter, then they didn't buy the conspiracy. So it's just very curious to me to watch this and to see if people are going to be honest with themselves and be honest with their audiences and be honest in the second trial and say, okay, if she is factually innocent, then why is she not proving this conspiracy? But people still love her and idolize her, even if she is gonna go in on the reasonable doubt. So you're literally standing behind somebody that you think is likely guilty, but you think like maybe the investigation wasn't done perfectly, and so therefore she shouldn't be convicted. Like, make that make sense. I can't. I don't even understand that way of thinking. But I could never be a defense attorney because I could never sell my soul. And you just can't be a defense attorney and not have to take cases that are gonna fucking leave a mark on your heart. I couldn't do it. I could be a prosecutor, but I could not be a defense attorney. Anyway, I think I'd be a damn good prosecutor, actually. But anyway, I'm gonna get off here because this has been another 4-hour fucking live and I have people I want to listen to. So those of you that were here, thank you. Please like and share and comment. If you have questions, leave them. If you have friends that are interested in the truth, please send them my way. I'd really like to get some intellectually honest conversations with people. If I can figure out how to have guests on here and talk about other shit other than Karen Read, just talk about like real life stuff and hard truths that our world is dealing with, and just kind of shooting the shit, kind of like having a little therapy session maybe. I don't know. I'd like to just be a beacon of light, a beacon of hope, a beacon of help where and when I can. In this case it's hurt my soul, and I don't even personally know these people, but being an empath is a blessing and a curse sometimes. I mean, not sometimes, it just is, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. But it's hard. It's hard to watch these kinds of injustices happen and to watch people with power do egregious things to people who are good, honest, hardworking members of society. It breaks my heart. So I am going to follow this through to the end, and I will probably make more videos, but we'll see. Okay, thanks for being here. Please smile. A smile goes a long way. Smile at people. Be nice in your traffic situations. Don't flip people off. Just remember that you don't know what people are going through. So if somebody is rude to you, don't allow that to continue. People go through shit. We all have bad days. We all have bad moments. We all have been rude to people. The best thing to do is to offer assistance and offer love and assist them if you can. Let them know you care, or at least just don't snap back. Clapping back is not cool, even though social media thinks it is, and these ugly YouTuber lawyers think that it is, some of them. Don't clap back that's just not being a compassionate human being, in my opinion. So please smile. Smiles are contagious. Your attitude and your behavior is contagious. If you are nice and gentle to somebody, if you give somebody grace, they will hopefully, usually 9 times out of 10 appreciate that and will pass that on. Think about when you're having a bad day and you're walking down the street and you just, are struggling and you see somebody walk by you and smile. What do? It's really hard not to smile back. And then guess what? The person that you walk by next is going to see you smile. And that smile goes to the next person, goes to the next person, goes to the next person. Give people compliments. Tell them that you appreciate them. Tell people in your lives that you love them. Do not waste your moments. Be the kind of person that your dog thinks you are. Okay? Spread love and light. I love you all. Mwah. Thank you. Good night.